Welcome back to the Perks Recap Podcast. Well, today's the day. I released a short video on this saying May 23rd, we're going to be recording this. I'm going to hopefully get it released tonight, Friday night. It should be out, and we're recording it Friday afternoon. And with me is Al Hill once again. Al, how you doing?
Awesome, man. Great to be back with you and excited to do our first exclusively music podcast. This is going to be fun, man. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, did we do an exclusive wrestling one?
We have done exclusively wrestling, certainly plenty of football, obviously.
And some
And
baseball.
we've hit some baseball, but I'm almost positive we never did anything that was just music. So yeah, this is
Right.
this is going to be fun.
And I'm thinking after this, when we want to hit music again, maybe we
Heck
can do
yeah.
a top 10 band, either bands or guitar players or both, all of that. Or we can
Oh,
go through, a bunch of different top 10s kind of stuff because we're in that mode with Jordan over on his podcast for the baseball positions.
yes, which I has been so much fun, and there's an almost limitless amount of top tens you can make in music. So yeah, absolutely, you can do every instrument in the band. You can do the bands, you can do the singers, you can do you can do albums, you can do songs, you can do one hit wonder. I mean, on and on and on. So yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Awesome stuff. Awesome. And plus, we need some more content in the off season of football because once football goes around, we're pretty much rolling with two a week. So,
Yeah, we
you
have
know,
football's covered, and we don't. All you can really do in the off season is what we already do: the draft and the free agency period, and then a little bit of a preview. So yeah, this is great to fill in some time around it. Love it.
yeah. All right. Well, today is the Aerosmith day at my request. And Al, tell us your knowledge of Aerosmith, your experiences with that band.
So I consider myself an Aerosmith fan. Now, having gotten to know you, I am hardly an Aerosmith fan compared to you because you are an Aerosmith expert, I would say. Easily say. Um, I'm a fan. I've liked them since I was a kid. Probably, honestly, I can't remember anymore if I got into them before, but I think it was probably the Run DMC remake of Walk This Way that got me into Aerosmith because I would have
The
been like
exact,
11 years old.
yep, the exact same song got me into Aerosmith as well. The
Right,
exact same.
right on. I remember Steven Tyler breaking through that wall with his mic stand, and I was a fan forever. And then I got into their other stuff, and I was like, "Holy crap, this band's incredible!" I remember getting Permanent Vacation, and what were the first couple albums in the after that in the '80s? There was
Oh, it
Pump,
was
there
Pump.
was
It was Pump and then Get a Grip.
Pump, Get a Grip, Permanent Vacation, and Permanent Vacation was the first of those three, right?
Yeah, it was Permanent Vacation, then Pump, then Get a Grip.
Okay, so I had all those albums, and I probably got more into Permanent Vacation than any of them. Even though in retrospect, I think I probably would like one of the other albums even more. But Permanent Vacation grabbed the hell out of me when I was a teenager, and I know every track on that album, and that is the only Aerosmith album I know every track on still to this day. But I owned at least 4 or 5 albums along the way. I had a buddy who was a big fan, and some of the reasons I know some of their deeper cuts are because of my buddy Eric Benner, who's a great musician and out there somewhere, maybe listening to this. And and I saw them one time, which we talked about on a pod 2 years ago, very briefly. I forget why it came up, but I saw them one time at the Spectrum, and it would have been the is it Pump that has Janie's Got a Gun?
Yes,
That tour, whatever year that would have been, early '90s, I want to
I
say.
would say 90.
Okay. So yeah, I saw them. Yeah, because I drove there and I got my license at 16 in 1990. So that makes sense.
So, or possibly 91. I mean, they toured extensively after that album in support of it, obviously. And I think they actually had a 2-year tour straight just doing that for that one album.
Yeah, it was 90 or 91 for sure. I couldn't say anymore, but it was an incredible show. It was one of my first 10 concerts, and it was epic. They were
Yeah,
on
that
fire.
time they were also very good. So we'll get into it a little bit here.
Love
Um,
it.
the first album was 73, but they were formed in 1970. I don't know if some people don't know that. Um,
Yeah, they put in some time.
Yeah, Joe Perry and Tom Hamilton were in a band called the Jam Band in Sunapee, New Hampshire. Everybody says they're the bad boys from Boston. They were formed in New Hampshire.
That's awesome.
Um, Steven Tyler walked into this place, and his description is walked into this dingy, shitty place and saw these guys completely out of tune, but there was something about them.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
So he gets to know them, they get to know him, they form a band, they're a trio, and Steven Tyler is singing and doing drums.
Oh, wow.
Steven Tyler was a drummer. His first band was called Chain Reaction in 1968. There's actually um, one song that's actually on the Aerosmith box set from Chain Reaction called "When I Needed You" with Steven Tyler as the drummer.
Get out of town.
Yeah,
I knew
and
he
it's
played
actually a
drums.
pretty good song.
I knew he played drums, but I didn't know there was any recordings of it. That's really cool. That's really
That's the
cool.
only one I found, but it is out there, and you can definitely look it up.
Imagine
And
having
then,
Steven Tyler in your band and not using him as your singer.
yeah, well, they use him as a singer, but they needed a drummer. So I don't know if
Oh,
he
he sang
sang.
also. He was Phil Collinsing it.
I think he was, yeah, like singing from the drum kit, which is very
Okay.
rare. That's
Yeah.
rare.
Oh yeah, it's a short list. I mean, it's Phil Collins, it's Levon Helm from the band. Geez, there's a few others, but those are the two that come to mind right off the top of my head. But there's
Well,
not many.
there's that young girl band, The Warning. Their lead singer's their guitar player, but there's like more than a couple. There's a few songs where the drummer is the lead singer from the drum kit.
Okay, okay. Oh, Dave Grohl every now and
Oh,
then still plays drums and sings, even though mostly he's frontmanning now.
right. That's the thing too. Steve Tyler must have been losing his mind because the way he moves around on stage and jumps
Oh,
and runs and spins and everything else, to be contained on the drum set must have killed him.
well, he's the only person I can ever possibly think of that would lose less weight playing drums.
Yeah, because yeah, absolutely.
Because the drums, we all sit back and say, "Oh my, I don't know how these drummers do it, man." Because they are just doing a full-on cardio workout for the entire show every time you play, whether you're in a bar band or you're in Aerosmith. It's and but Steven Tyler does more.
Right. So after this in 1970, uh, Ray Tabano was part of this band.
Oh, he
Tabano,
was the original other guitar player. Is that correct?
yes, for the first year,
Okay,
and then Brad Whitford came along.
good ad.
Yes, and he replaced Ray. Ray left, I think, to go back to school or something. I forgot what it was,
I think
but
I
anyway,
actually, Craig. I think he joined. I think he started a band with Pete Best.
he might have. Yes, that's it.
For those who don't know, that was the original drummer for the Beatles.
Right. Okay, so he replaced Brad, and then Joey Kramer got brought in when they were just looking for a drummer, realizing Steven's got to concentrate on singing. And Joey Kramer came in, and they were still called either the Jam Band or they just didn't have a name. And Joey Kramer, the drummer, came up with the name Aerosmith.
Did he? I didn't know that. Okay.
Yes. So that's all in New Hampshire. Then they decided to move in together to a one-bedroom apartment in Boston on 1325 Commonwealth Avenue.
Oh, I
And
love these kind of stories. Go.
yeah, and that's where everything started. And they said that every morning Steven Tyler would wake everybody up because maybe it was more than one bedroom, but it wasn't big regardless. Um, but Tom Hamilton's room was the only room they could fit a piano, and they put a piano in his room, and he got woken up every morning to some weird song Steven Tyler was playing on the piano, and that song turned out to be Dream On.
Oh, what a ride. I can't believe that's so cool. I love that in an apartment that there was not nearly enough room, they dedicated probably an eighth of the entire space to a piano. It's great.
Yeah, and
True musician shit right there. That's beautiful.
yeah, I mean, they were all in. They were all in. This was going to work, or they were going to all be going back, to their parents' house. This is like this had to work.
And that's a common thread with greatness. It really is. It's the people that make it big, one, are great and have that in them to begin with, and two, they take away their safety net.
Yep. And so then they playing the local stuff. Clive Davis sees them.
Huh,
You know, Clive
jeez.
Davis, the famous producer, and they made a song called "No Surprise." It's about the story of that. Clive Davis says he's going to make us a star, so he liked them, signs them, and their original recording that they sent to Columbia as their original tape for Columbia to listen to
Mhm.
just got released a couple years ago as a CD.
Get out.
Yeah, it's called "The Road Starts Here," and here spelled Hear.
Oh, that's great.
And it's not a great recording, to be honest. This is 1970 or 69, even maybe 70 or 71 at the latest, in that
Hmm.
range. And they released this recording. They mastered it. They tried to digitize it. They tried to clean it up as best they could, but it's still like overmodulated as all hell. But the songs are still there. Some of the songs are actually funny. There's a song on there in there that didn't get released for like another 4 or 5 years on another album.
Oh, really?
Yeah, called Major Barbara, and it was part of their greatest hits album that came out, I think, late '70s or
Interesting. So,
early
okay.
'80s. That was on there, but a lot of the stuff that was on the original album was on there.
Okay. That's that. I'm fat when bands do that kind of thing. I always get it because I like knowing the nooks and crannies.
Yeah, so that was their start. That was their tape that they sent in, got picked up, and made the first self-titled debut album. And they were immediately ridiculed for being a Rolling Stones ripoff, and Steven Tyler was ridiculed for being a Mick Jagger ripoff. And they didn't get much traction.
Short-sighted by those reviewers, by the way.
Yeah,
Although the connection, a skinny, big-lipped, charismatic frontman, the connection was a little easy to make, but you know, but but they're very different bands. Like they never really compared as bands in my mind at all.
no, the Rolling Stones were different. Yeah, absolutely. Um, so even Dream On gets released and gets no traction at all.
Yeah, that's right. It didn't. It wasn't big the first time around, huh?
Nope. So they give us the next album. That one gets some traction. Get Your Wings, 1974. And they during that release, they also released Dream On again, and they got to
Ah,
like number 6 on the charts.
it's fascinating the old days of the re-release.
Yeah.
There were songs
Also,
that. Go ahead. Sorry.
no, I was gonna say also the old days of releasing an album every year.
Yeah, yeah, yes. Release an album, tour your ass off, go make another album. Release that, tour your ass off, go make another album until they chew you up and spit you out.
They did that 4 years in a row.
It's incredible, man. The prolific output of the '70s bands in general is insane,
Yeah.
and
So
Aerosmith is certainly at the leading the charge there.
so 73 debut, 74 Get Your Wings, good album on there, a lot of good stuff on there. And then 75 is when everything changed and they blew up, and all of a sudden they were all super rich
Ah,
because that was Toys in the Attic.
oh
You know,
yes.
1975, the year I was born, so it's a great year.
Ah,
And
nice.
that one, of course, had Walk This Way and Sweet Emotion.
Yeah, and this is one I had definitely. This is probably the one I know the best from the '70s for sure.
Yeah, a lot of people feel that way. I mean, it is a great, great album. I saw a tour, uh, one of the later ones, I'd say 2008, 2011. I don't know the exact year, where they actually part of the tour was they were doing the regular songs, but they did every song on this album.
I love that trend that started somewhere along the way. And if you have a band you love, like you did with Aerosmith, and you got to see a full album, I think that's so cool.
Right. The only thing is they didn't do it in order. They just threw,
Oh,
it was, 19 songs or whatever. There's like 8 songs on this, and they just kind of scatter the 8 in there within the 19.
that's interesting. It's weird that they would do it that way, but that they did the album is great. And by the way, I want to throw a nod out to a band that you probably reacted to as much or more than any band in the history of your reaction channel because I think they might be the ones that started this trend, and that's Fish. Yeah.
Okay,
I,
probably second to Grateful Dead.
right on. Okay. And did you know? I don't know if who's your guy that does most of the Fish stuff?
Uh, he has not been around in a while.
Okay, so well, not shout out to our buddy there, but and I suck with names because I knew it at one point. My apologies for not remembering your name, my man.
Yeah,
But
I should also know it, and I do know it, and I'm just it's just blanking on me.
all good. We all remember him and his requests for sure. Um,
Yes,
but the reason I bring this up, just a quick side note, is Fish started. I believe the first one was 1994, so this goes back a long way. They started doing full album covers every Halloween show.
that's awesome.
Yeah, they did everything from the Beatles' White Album to Talking Heads to I mean on. I mean they did something. They've done 10 or 15 albums on Halloween's over the years.
So not their own album.
Not their own, which is pretty cool, right?
Yeah, that is pretty cool. The
At
cool
one
thing about the
point, they
Aerosmith
took
one,
fan votes, Craig, to what as to what album they would play,
awesome.
and they ended the voting something like a week or two before the show, and they learned the whole album in that time.
That's so great. That's so
Crazy,
cool.
crazy, right? So anyway, quick side note because I just love that you mentioned that Aerosmith did a full album live because I love that thing.
Right. I think they might have cut like did a back to back on some of the songs on them. They didn't scatter all of them, but they weren't all in order. That's for sure.
Right on.
And they also did not do the last song on any concert but one, and that is called "You See Me Crying," because there's a section in there where he does nothing but and he does an entire verse in his raspy voice.
Oh, okay.
And this is right after his vocal surgery that he
Oh,
had,
gee.
his surgery on his vocal cords.
Yeah, yeah.
And he didn't do it. He did it once because Liv Tyler, his daughter, who is the
Hmm.
actress in Armageddon and Lord of
Yep.
the
Lord of the
Rings and
Rings. Yep.
in one of the Aerosmith videos. Anyway, she loves the song. She was in attendance there, and she asked him to do it, so he did it, but just the one time.
Wow. Wow. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Plus, this album also has one of my favorite lesser known Aerosmith songs, Big 10 Inch Record, which it makes me laugh and I love it.
Absolutely, so great.
It's the first time
People
I
think
ever knew Steven Tyler tears up the harmonica.
yeah, people think it's a cover, and it's not.
No, that's their song. Yeah. Because it does have it's a blues song. It's a really well written, kick ass blues song.
Yep,
Love it.
so well done, and started the double entendre lyrics that became a staple later on.
Yeah, that's awesome. Perfect. Yes, for sure.
Yes, so love that album. Uncle Salty is the song on there. Tom Hamilton wrote, and it's one of my favorites. And it was actually sampled by Shania Twain.
Shania Twain.
Yeah, but not in the way you think. Like
Okay.
I didn't even realize this till I read it. I've heard the Shania Twain. I think it's "Man, I Feel Like a Woman" or
Okay.
something like that. It's just kind of got the same kind of the way it's hard to explain the way Uncle Salty is written. It's just similar in the way the vocals are sung. She took that from that song.
Cool.
That's the best
That-
way I can describe it.
That's cool,
The,
man.
the name of the song, if anybody's curious, "Man, I Feel Like a Woman," and then the name of the Aerosmith song is "Uncle Salty," and apparently she took it from that song, and it does. There's definitely some similarities.
That's really cool.
Okay, let's move on. 76. Hang on. I want to make sure I get everything right. Even I sometimes will get confused on the years.
Well,
Um,
this is a pretty prolific band, so you're excused.
okay. Yeah. Okay, well, we're going to move on to Rocks.
Nice.
And Rocks is, for the most part, everybody's favorite Aerosmith album. It's the one when you hear albums ranked, the only Aerosmith album that ever gets mentioned is Rocks. And by the way, the Rocks is the next one. It came out in 1976.
Yes, right on,
So we
right
got
on.
4 years in a row: 73, 74, 75, 76 straight every year a new album.
Boom.
And Rocks is considered their best by all the old people that are wrong.
That's awesome.
Right. So
I love it.
it's got some great songs on there. I mean, Back in the Saddle,
Yeah, great tune.
great
Last Child's
tune.
one of my favorites too.
Last Child, written by Brad Whitford.
Was it? Okay. That
Yep.
explains it because it's a very different Aerosmith song. It's one of the funkiest Aerosmith songs ever written.
Yep. And he's the lead guitar in it.
Oh, interesting. Okay. That's cool to
I
know.
think at least at the very beginning.
Okay.
Um, and it's got Nobody's Fault, which everybody says is their hardest rocking song, which of course is wrong. Um, but it is a hard rocking song. I love Nobody's Fault. I love this album. It's just not my favorite album.
Right on. Right on.
And again, all the old Aerosmith fans, this was like the last good Aerosmith album or whatever, and they're wrong. But anyway, after this, Rocks again. Like I said, if you ever hear like the 500 greatest albums of all time, the only Aerosmith album mentioned. Well, if you do 500, I'm sure there'll be others, but the highest ranked one is always Rocks.
That's interesting. I would have thought Toys in the Attic would have been above that, actually.
Right.
But
Toys in the Attic is usually pretty close,
okay.
but Rocks is always higher.
And yeah, interesting. Okay, cool, cool.
And every time they release a new album, because they know all the fans love Rocks, they always say this one sounds the most like Rocks than any other album.
Which, of course, probably just pisses off those fans more. That's awesome. Oh, I love it.
Then Draw the Line, and that's when the drugs really started.
Okay.
1977, again, another year straight, another year. Now we're up to 5 years in a row.
Yeah, that's ridiculous, man. Amazing.
Um,
And this is where I stopped knowing the albums very well.
right, the
I
song
don't.
"Draw the Line" itself is good.
Okay.
They had like cartoon characters on themselves on the cover, and that's what people thought. But "Draw the Line" was actually for cocaine,
Oh, sure.
obviously.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's an obvious thing to
And as
make,
Steven
but.
Tyler said, he snorted all of Peru.
Well, that's why you had to draw a line because there were none left to snort.
Right. So they went into some place, I forgot where, I think Vermont or something,
Oh, okay.
and stayed there. And for the first week, nobody didn't record one bit of music, and they were only there for like 2.5, 3 weeks. So Steven
Not
Tyler locked himself in a room and just did drugs the entire time.
wow. Oh, by the way, I just found it. They were at a haunted mansion called the Cenacle.
Oh,
And you're right.
okay.
I think I can't find the location, but it was probably Vermont, like you said. I just can't find it. But that adds a little element to the whole thing.
So, and of course, Joe Perry was just as bad as him, and the other guys were as well, but not as much. They were more alcohol was their vice more than anything. And also, do you know that Steven Tyler and Joe Perry called the Toxic Twins?
Yes.
I actually have that T-shirt, and I love that T-shirt, Toxic Twins World Tour. And Joe Perry wears it in one video, and Steven Tyler wears it in another one. But the other three, Brad, Tom, and Joey, are called the LI3, which are the less interesting three.
Oh God, that's jeez. Wow. Wow. Oh man, I remember seeing a quick interjection on that. I can't remember where. You know what it probably was an old show from the early 2000s that I love called That Metal Show on VH1 Classic. Do you
Oh,
remember that one by any chance?
Didn't Chris Jericho host that?
It wasn't. He was on it a few times. It was Eddie Trunk. It
Okay.
was and two comedians named Jim Florentine, and I always forget the other comedian's name. It's not. I'll find it while we're talking at some point, maybe. Um, but it was. I saw Kramer. What is it? Joey Kramer, right?
Yeah, Joey Kramer.
Joey Kramer, and it was. He was just so sort of like, yeah, man. Aerosmith, it's a blessing and a curse. It's a tough, like it was just like everything was like, yeah, man, it's I'm hanging on. You know what I mean? Like I was like, wow, like Joey's really he's not having the thrill ride I was expecting.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially during those times, the band started arguing and getting infighting and all kinds of problems.
Yeah, and
And
that's when I heard the Toxic Twin thing for the first time. I think was in that late '90s, early 2000s era.
okay, yeah, and they were infighting in the '70s too, right around this time, and when Draw the Line was being recorded.
Well, I know they were
Um,
about to hit a really rough spot coming up soon. I know.
absolutely. So, Joey Craig, by the way, had a nervous breakdown too.
So okay, that sounds vaguely familiar when you talk. Was that during this time?
No, this was later, much
Later.
later.
Okay. Okay.
And he also somehow was getting gas for his Ferrari, and the whole thing went up in flames, and he got severely burnt.
Oh no.
Not like not maybe not severely because I didn't see any pictures of him all burnt up, but either way, the Ferrari went up in flames. It was an incident. He got injured somehow. Maybe it was burning of something. Regardless, he was yeah,
Jeez. He's
yeah,
been through it. He's been through it.
yeah. He says Steven Tyler is the nervous twitch in his eye and is also his best friend.
That's the guy. I remember him saying that in that interview. Yeah.
Yeah, he's my best friend and my worst enemy. He's the nervous twitch in my eye.
And he's also the reason I had a Ferrari to blow up.
Exactly.
Oh, I love it. Fascinating. Okay, so we are on this album, and
Draw the line.
they
Yeah.
are drugged and are drinking the way through this album. Draw the line.
Yes, and it's still an okay album, um, because one of the songs that I sent you, which
Yes, I
we'll
saw
go
that was
over
on
at the
here.
end, was on this album, and it is by some and regarded as their best song ever. Some people's favorite song by them ever. It's right up there for me, probably top five ever, maybe top three, and it's Kings and Queens, and I love that song. We'll get into the songs late at the end,
Right on.
but I love that song. So I always have a fond place for Draw the Line because of the Draw the Line original song and that a lot of crescendos that break down to almost silence, which happens in Kings and Queens as well, and then built back up to like a big explosion at the end. And I really like when a band does that.
Yeah, it's a really well constructed song. I really enjoyed it. I didn't. If I ever heard it, I didn't remember hearing it.
Right, 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 right. Okay, so Draw the Line was 77, but it was December 77, so they actually did not have a release in 78. And they didn't have a release until 79 in till November of 79. So we almost went 2 years. I think it was the
Slackers.
drugs and everything, and I think it was partying and not wanting to do the studio, like really having to get pulled through the last one that they really didn't want to even do.
Right, right. Well, and also, and in retrospect, what the studios were having bands do in the '70s was insane.
Right, 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 right.
Absolutely unsustainable and completely insane. And the reason for a lot of the drug issues and things that came up and nervous breakdowns.
Yeah. Well, Steven Tyler said that when he saw some of those musicians dropping off, he's like, I did all that same stuff. There's no reason for me to have survived over them. I did all that same stuff. For some reason, I survived and they didn't.
Yeah, there's a lot there's a whole host of Steven Tylers out there. I mean, Lemmy from Motorhead makes Steven Tyler look like he was taking aspirin for 10 years.
Yeah,
And he
exactly.
lived and he did that shit until the day he died in his 70s.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
He never got sober. I mean, it's crazy what some of these guys did to themselves. It's one of my favorite moments ever in a documentary, Craig, about especially and it goes into this '70s craziness, and it produced some of the best music of all time too. I mean, it was a pressure cooker that produced some diamonds, man. But did you ever happen to see the Eagles documentary that came out sometime in the last 10 years?
I did not.
Okay, great scene. It's real. I'm not a big Eagles guy, but it's a great documentary, and it starts off with concert footage from 1975 or six, I believe it is, and the concert ends. They follow Glenn Fry and Don Henley into the limo, which tells you a lot about the Eagles, by the way, because Glenn Fry and Don Henley got into the limo. None of the other guys in the band were in that same limo.
Okay.
It sounds a little bit like a Joe Perry and Steven Tyler and the rest situation. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yep.
But But here's the line that Don Henley said while they were riding in the limo in 19, I think it was 76. He goes, listen, we can only do this for another 3 or 4 years. This is unsustainable. Nobody can possibly do this for more than 10 years.
Yeah, I agree.
And in the documentary, then they flash forward to 1991 or whatever it was when they did the Hell Freezes Over tour and they got the whole band back together. But it was just a priceless thing. But nobody can sustain what they were doing in the 70s is the real valid point, you know.
Yep. So we come to Night in the Ruts.
What's it called?
Night
Night in the
in the Ruts.
Okay.
1979. Of course, the euphemism for right in the nuts. Because Aerosmith, that's why. Okay. The no the opening track is called No Surprise. That's where they specifically mentioned Clive Davis finding them and going to make them a star.
Oh, okay.
That's
That's the
called
one that
No.
was on. Okay, cool. Very cool.
Remember Walking in the Sand is a Shangri-La cover. I love that song.
That's
Um,
interesting. They covered the Shangri-Las. That's cool.
yep. Reefer Head Woman, love that. Jazz Gilliam cover.
Okay. I was going to say it sounds like a Bob Marley song.
Yep. I
That's
got a
awesome.
reefer head woman.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I don't know any of these. I don't know a single song on this album, Craig. Not
yeah.
one.
Bone to Bone, Coney Island Whitefish Boy. Coney Island Whitefish is the condoms on the beach. And then think about it. Another cover was a Yardbirds cover written
Okay.
originally by Jimmy Page and Keith Relf from the Yardbirds.
The
And then
Yardbirds are. You
Mia
could do it. We
and
could do an
Sting.
entire podcast on the Yardbirds. By the way, they spawned three of the greatest guitar players in the history of rock and roll between Clapton, Jeff Beck, and Jimmy Page.
Yes, they did. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And the last song was called Mia. It was for his daughter who was born, Mia, and it wasn't that good. That's all
Okay.
I'll say.
Okay.
But that was
And
that album. And the reason why I mentioned it is because Joe Perry is not on the entire album.
yeah. So what's the story there? Because I've heard little bits and pieces about this over time. I also know.
They just, a ton of infighting, Steven Tyler passing out on stage, Steven Tyler falling down on stage,
Wow.
concerts ending, people booing, just awful, awful playing, completely out of tune, just a complete mess in Joe Perry and Steven Tyler just at each other's throats.
Wow.
And he left midway through the recording. Jimmy
Wow.
Crespo is lead guitar on a song called 3 Mile Smile.
Okay.
And they had a bunch of other, well, they had some horns in some of these other songs.
Real quick
Chiquita.
question: why wouldn't Whitford just take the damn solo?
I don't know. He's the rhythm guitarist. He's not the lead guitarist. I don't know.
But he's one of the songs we're going to listen to today. He takes a solo and he rips it up.
Yep. Yep.
It's
He could have.
fascinating.
Not sure. Maybe he was mad too because he left too.
There was a lot of toxicity going on at that time. Yes.
I
Okay.
don't. It doesn't say that he left. The only person that actually for sure left was Joe Perry. For sure, he was left midway through. It doesn't say the other guys left yet. But this was the last album with Joe Perry and Brad Whitford. They both left after this album.
Because Whitford is about to form Whitford St. Holmes for an album or two, right?
Derek St. Holmes, yeah, they released one album, and then in one of Aerosmith's downtimes, like 2017 or 18, maybe even 20, they had a reunion and didn't and released another album.
Oh, that's cool. That's a pretty good album, honestly.
Woodford St. Holmes one.
Hmm.
I always like Brad's playing; he's really good.
And St. Holmes is awesome, dude. I mean, he was the lead singer of Stranglehold by Ted
Oh,
Nugent.
awesome!
Yeah, he was. Ted became the. He would sing a few songs here and there, but at the peak of Nugent's awesomeness in the '70s, Derek St. Holmes was in the band and he was the lead singer.
Wow, wow.
Yeah, so that's what he was doing before he joined up with Whitford. So there was a potential for that to really explode. It didn't, but it was it was a good album. It's
Yep,
probably
yep.
good it didn't because it meant Aerosmith was able to come back.
Yes. So, at this time too, like right before Night in the Ruts came out, I think it was '78. So they
Okay.
did release an album in '78. They released a live album called Live Bootleg, and the only reason why is because they were getting tired, or Steven was tired of all these bootleg recordings of their live shows getting out there, and he's like, we should be making money off these. So they released a bootleg album called Live Bootleg, but they released it. It's an official album of theirs.
And that was actually recorded in '73, right? You told me.
I'm not sure exactly when it was recorded. I think there's a bunch of different things on there
Oh, it's like all
where
over
it's
the place. Maybe different tracks from different shows and stuff.
Yeah, um, and and again, all these older Aerosmith fans love it, and I think it's complete garbage. I don't like it one bit. It sounds horrible,
That's awesome. That's awesome.
horrible sounding.
Hell, I've only heard two tracks, but I can understand where
Don't
you're coming from
get
those
me
two.
wrong. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a couple good ones. The ones I sent you and stuff. I like. I
They were
enjoyed.
cool. They were not they're the sound, you could tell they did what they could with it, and it sounds pretty good.
Yeah,
So it was
yeah,
I wasn't disappointed, but I haven't had heard the whole album.
yeah. On the album, if you ever do listen to it, you'll know what I'm talking about. Just the microphones are all screwed. I don't know. It's the sound, the mixing, everything about it. I don't like.
Well, usually when you can tell when a live album comes out that wasn't intended to come out because they didn't set up for it ever. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
It's just like, oh, we got some recordings, let's brush them up and do what we can with
Yeah,
it.
Town literally took a stamp, Aerosmith stamp with ink on it, and stamped a piece of paper, and that was the cover.
Oh, that's it, because I saw the cover and that's what it looked like. But I
Yeah,
thought it was some sort of aesthetic choice. It was just now, boom,
no, he's
here you
like,
go.
we should be making money. All pissed off, all drugged out. Let's just release a bootleg album ourselves. And he's like, and then he just stamps it. That's the cover.
Yes, man. Well, I've heard somebody in one of the Rolling Stone writer, I can't remember who, said about, I can't remember what band it was about at one point, but it applies to a lot of the biggest bands of all time, that the fans would be willing to accept a turd if they packaged it properly.
Yeah, and Aerosmith was not at their peak anymore. After Rocks was their peak, but they
Is
were
this your least
still.
favorite album,
This
or
Night in the Ruts is one of them. I
okay?
don't not a huge fan. There are a couple that are okay. Honestly, a lot of the covers are good because there's like three covers on there. But
And you can tell. Oh, that one. The last thing about that, real quick, Craig, is you can usually tell a lot about the creative. Not that I have anything against a band doing a cover, I don't. But you can tell a lot about the creative output of a band by the amount of covers on an album, and it looks like they were not in a good space at that point.
right, and also around this time, I should have got the year. If you want to look it up real quick, the Sergeant Pepper's film that the Beatles took out, the film.
Oh, which is like some kind of acid nightmare. Yes,
Right. I don't know what year it was,
I'll
but
find it.
Aerosmith is in that, and they're called the Future Villain Band.
It's 1978.
There you go. So they didn't release an album in '78, but they did the movie and they did the live album.
If anybody out there has not seen this, and for your sake, I hope you haven't. Um, just turn it on sometime for a couple minutes. It is insane. It's absolutely insane. And I'm not I listen, I respect the hell out of the Beatles. And if you ask me who the most important band is in the history of rock and roll, they're probably it. But I don't listen to the Beatles very much. They're not my band. But what they did to the Beatles music in this movie is insane.
Yeah,
It's so weird and so messed up. It's like some dude just took a bunch of acid and said, "Let's make a movie."
absolutely. But one good thing that came out of it for them, for Aerosmith, was they covered "Come Together," and that became a staple.
One of the most, maybe one of the most famous covers of all time, and one of the best.
It became a big hit on the radio and everything.
I didn't know that's
Bigger
where
than
that came from.
yeah, it came from that movie. I'm not sure if it's on that soundtrack or not. They released it. They released the greatest hits, and they released it on there.
I'll see if it's
Um,
on the soundtrack. That's awesome. That's a cool tidbit, man. I just assumed that was on some Aerosmith album, and I was waiting for the track to come up, and it hadn't. So that's wow. That's great.
I'm pretty well. It's definitely off of that movie
No,
experience.
you're definitely. I mean, it's not on any other Aerosmith album. It's not on an Aerosmith album in '77 or '79. I mean, so
Yeah,
whether it's on that album or not, it's not on an Aerosmith album. So you're right. I mean, that's incredible.
and it stuck. I heard that I watched them do "Come Together" a bunch of times live,
Yeah, that's.
all
I
the
mean,
all the way through the 2000s, 2010s. I saw them 30 times, and I probably heard "Come Together" live at least 12 times. It was a staple.
man, yeah, it was a great cover. One of the best covers of all time.
Yep. So that was 79. So then Joe Perry forms the Joe Perry Project. If you ever want to listen to the first Joe Perry Project album, it's okay.
I was
And
going to
then
ask because I don't. I never checked that out.
right, it's okay.
Okay,
Whitford St. Holmes is better than the Joe Perry Project album.
I do know that album, and I liked it. I haven't listened to it in 20 years, but I remember liking it.
Yeah. So then Aerosmith, Jimmy Crespo, the guy who stood
Played
in
that
for
solo.
Joe at the
Hmm.
end of Night in the Ruts when Joe left,
Real quick,
he
Craig.
really
By the
liked.
way, to just to put a bow on the previous discussion, "Come Together" is the first track on side 4 of the album soundtrack.
There you go.
Boom. All right, go back. Sorry.
No problem. No problem. I'm glad you did. Okay. So Jimmy Crespo joins the band as lead guitarist. Tom Hamilton's still there. Joey Kramer's still there. And Rick DeFay is on
Rick
rhythm guitar.
Rick DeFay. Okay.
Yes. And
Who day? Who day? Rick DeFay.
Rick DeFay on rhythm guitar. So they do a new album called Rock in a Hard Place. Another contender for my least favorite album ever.
Okay.
It's right there. There's three that I really don't like. It's this one, it's Night in the Ruts, and one we haven't come up to yet. And no fun here. There's a couple decent songs called "Lightning Strikes" with Steven is a disaster. There's even some footage of him during this recording process, like behind the scenes stuff, and you could tell he's geeked out of his mind.
Oh wow.
So not good at all. I don't like the album. It was not a good release at all. It was, panned by the critics and the fans. They had to start playing smaller venues, and then
Man.
Steve Tyler gets into a motorcycle accident,
Oh, I don't know about this. Okay.
messes him up. So that is that song, that album. Then they're
It
on
sounds
the
like we spent
hiatus.
more than enough time on that one, huh?
There's nothing to talk. There's nothing to say. It's
Yeah, no,
it's
I'm with you.
it's garbage.
Wow.
So right before they take another break for 3 years because Done with Mirrors was 82, 85. Or I'm sorry, Rock and a Hard Place was 82, 85. They come out with Done with Mirrors, and they're back together. Joe and Steven patch things up. I guess Joe was just told by somebody like, "Listen, you're not having any fun here. You got to get back with Steven Tyler." And Steven was basically told the same thing. Even Jimmy Crespo, who was filling in for Joe, was like, This is not going to work."
Was Joe just doing the Joe Perry band the whole time, or
The
were they
Joe
just
Perry,
inactive, or what were they doing?
I think he was doing the Joe Perry project.
Okay, cool.
So, and Aerosmith hadn't toured in a little while because of his motorcycle accident.
Now, were they sober at this point?
No,
Okay, because done with mirrors, they weren't really done with mirrors.
right. Well, I
Okay,
think
cool.
they recorded it. I think it was right around that time is when they got sober.
Okay, okay.
So I think they recorded it and then realized it's time to stop doing, to get clean. And then the album came out and they named it "Done with Mirrors" because that they were done with mirrors. It's just that when they were recording it, they weren't yet.
Gotcha. Okay, cool, cool.
I believe that
Makes a
part. I'm
lot.
not
It
entirely
makes a
sure.
lot of sense, Craig. That fits like everything that's going to happen. It fits.
Right, right. It was interesting. And "Done with Mirrors" is a shit album.
That's another
Not
one, by the way. I don't know a single song. I'm looking at the track list and I don't know any song on it.
Nope, the only one that's any good that they've actually played since then and then played on a regular basis, and I heard a bunch of times live, is Let the Music Do the Talking, which was a Joe Perry project song that he made when he was there, and it was that song, their song, and Aerosmith adopted it. And of course, Steven Tyler's singing it now instead of whoever Joe had singing it.
Right,
And
right, yeah,
it's a great song, and it was great in terms of them getting back together and not saying anything, just let the music do the talking.
yeah,
That's
man. No,
actually
that's good.
a pretty good song. I really enjoy that song.
That's
The
great.
the rest of it is Dookie.
I love it. Okay, that's awesome.
So my three least favorite albums came out three in a row.
Right on, right
Right
on,
in the
and
right in
over a
the
pretty big chunk of time.
yeah, right in the nuts. Rockin' a Hard Place, Done with Mirrors from 79 to 85 is garbage.
Wow. Yeah. No. Okay. Okay.
So and again, the older Aerosmith fans will say don't either Rocks or Done with Mirrors or Rockin' a Hard Place or Done with Mirrors. One of them are like the last good Aerosmith album.
Yeah, that's crazy to me, even, and I don't know them nearly as well as you
Absolutely insane. So
because they're about
anyway,
to put out three bangers.
yeah. So after Done with Mirrors, along comes Rick Rubin producing for Run DMC, and they want to redo Walk This Way, and they just first approach him just to get the rights to make a cover of it,
Okay.
and somebody gets the idea to have Aerosmith play on the track.
Do we have any idea who had that brilliant? I was it Ruben? Do we know?
I don't know. I know initially they were just asked if they can for permission to cover it.
That's amazing because it is. This is one of the biggest moments in pop music history,
Yeah,
and
this
that's
was
not.
the first crossover.
It's not even slightly overstating it to say that. I mean, this introduced the 98% of white America that had no idea what rap was at that point. This introduced it to them. And it also introduced Aerosmith to the 98% of black America that didn't know what they were doing in the rock world.
Yeah,
It was epic.
it really was in the video, breaking through the wall, all the symbolism there, breaking the walls down, the black white thing, all that.
Yep.
And it was an important song, an important, really important video. Yeah, just great stuff. And it wasn't all Aerosmith, by the way. It was just Joe and Steven. The less interesting three were not on it.
Yeah, which which figures for those guys, you know?
Right. But anyway, so that, of course, huge hit. Run DMC blew up after that too. And by the way, one of the coolest concerts I've ever seen was Kid Rock was opening for them, and Run DMC was opening. It was a three-band show.
Oh, that's cool.
Run DMC, Kid Rock, Aerosmith, and at the end for the encore, Run DMC came on stage with Aerosmith, and they did Walk This Way.
That's great.
It
That's
was
really
awesome. And
cool.
Jam Master Jay was still alive.
That's super cool. Super cool.
Actually, he died literally just a couple months later, but whatever. I saw it. I was there. It was great. I think actually Kid Rock was on stage with him too for Walk This Way, but whatever. It was cool as hell.
That's awesome. And yeah, no, that's great. Did they let them do my Adidas then right after that?
No, well, Run DMC did my Adidas when they were on stage opening the show.
Fair. Okay. Yes. did, they,
You
did
know,
they
they
do
had
Christmas
about
in? Did they
they
do
had about
Christmas in Hollis?
I don't remember.
Not if it was. They wouldn't have done it if it was July.
It wasn't Christmas.
That's awesome. I love it. That's so cool, man. That is so cool.
Yeah, they were
What?
on for about 25 minutes to a half hour. Kid Rock was on for about 40 minutes, 45 minutes, and then Aerosmith was on for like almost 2 hours.
Okay, let me ask you this: while you brought that awesomeness up, other greatest opening acts you've ever seen with Aerosmith? Because you've seen them 30 sometimes. That's a lot of shows,
Oh,
man.
I saw Collective Soul. I
Cool.
saw Joan Jett and the Blackhearts.
Oh, one of my all-time favorites. Love her. I had one of my first celebrity crushes ever, and a long line of lesbians that I ended up having crushes on.
Yep. Also, I saw Motley Crue.
Oh, nice! Wow, that's a double bill.
Yep. Later, too. Later on. Not early. You would think it was early. No, later. Much
Wow.
later.
Did Tommy Lee do the drum thing up in the rafters?
No, no, he did not. After he fell, I'm sure that he was like, "Screw that."
Oh man! Wow, this is unbelievable. Any more you can think of? That's great.
Um,
That's amazing.
Kiss saw Kiss
Wow!
open for them. I'm trying to think who else.
I can't believe Kiss opened up for anybody with the ego on Gene Simmons. Wow.
Well, they wanted to tour together, and the ego on Mr. Tyler trumps even his because Aerosmith. The only way they agreed to tour with Kiss was if Kiss opened for them every show.
That's awesome. That is
Because Kiss
awesome.
originally said, "Let's go back and forth. You open one night, we open the next night." And Aerosmith was like, "No, you open
Yeah,
for us every show. We'll
which
do it."
there's very few stories where the guys from Kiss, especially Gene, are the reasonable ones.
Yeah.
Oh, it takes an ego of Steven Tyler to out ego Gene Simmons. That's incredible. I love it. It's like you just imagine their egos as the last dinosaurs roaming the planet and battling each other.
I would have liked to see the Black Crows open for him because they opened for him a few times.
Oh, that would have been cool. And yeah, that would have
They were
fit really
touring
well
together
too. Yeah.
on the last tour.
Okay.
Um, Trying to think if there's any more. Johnny Lang. I don't know if you know who that is.
Yeah,
He's
the blues
named.
guy. Yeah, he was the every 10 years the world decides they need to recognize another blues player. Right now it's what's that guy, the big giant black guy, Catfish something, King
Yeah,
Catfisher. Yeah. um
right.
and ever for and 99.9% of the rest of the time everybody forgets that the blues exists, but Johnny Lang was that guy in 1995,
Right. And I saw him around
and
that
he's great.
time.
He's a killer player.
Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah.
Trying to think if there's anybody. There's others. I can't remember them all.
That's cool though. What a list. And I liked it because a lot of bands, like Fish, has never had anybody. They famously finally let a band called Goose open up for them some in the last couple of years, but that was the first time they ever had an opening act.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, the Dead would do it here and there. They had I saw the Dead. I saw the Steve Miller Band open up for the Grateful Dead.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, there's a band been around for a really long time too. Metal band that opened for them one time. They had a song
Oh,
called "Headed for Destruction"
wait,
that
I'll
was
find
really
it.
good. The guy had a chainsaw on stage. Song
Oh,
was
I know who you're
cool.
talking. Jackal.
Jackal opened for him too.
Oh, that's a
Okay.
riot, dude.
And
Yeah,
I
the
saw
Chainsaw
Jackal.
song. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's called the Chainsaw Song. Actually, the
Well,
one with the chainsaw.
there he did "Headed for Destruction" too, and in the recording, um, the chainsaw sings "Headed for Destruction" at the end.
Oh, what a riot.
So maybe there's two. I don't know. Whatever. I don't know the
There's another one
metal.
called the Lumberjack. That's what I was thinking of. But yeah, he incorporated that chainsaw into a couple things, and it was a big, it was a great shtick. Great shtick.
So yeah, I definitely saw quite a bit of bands, quite a
Oh,
few
that's good
bands.
stuff, man. That was I just since you brought up the other one, I wanted to ask because you've seen a lot of good shows.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Geez, I just remembered too. So ZZ Top opened
Whoa,
for them, and I
cool!
also saw Lenny Kravitz. I forgot.
Holy crap, man!
Yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, ZZ Top is one of my favorite bands ever. I mean, I love those guys. I respect the hell out of them, and to have them open up for you, that's incredible because they're one of the biggest bands in rock history, and I mean, they're not quite as big as Aerosmith. This is why they're the opener, but that's an incredible opening act.
All right. Well, coming off the Walk This Way, they signed a Geffen, the Geffen years.
Aha.
First one, Permanent Vacation, the one that you know the best, right?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I love that album.
Yeah, Dude Looks Like a Lady, all that stuff.
Yep.
And still just one ballad at a time, one ballad per album. That one was Angel.
Oh, yes. Oh,
Um,
that one was Angel.
Angel was on Permanent Vacation, yeah.
I was trying to remember. Okay. Yeah. And because I mean, I used to know every song on this album. I'm going to have to bust this out tonight because I used to know every note of every song.
um, Another great one and one of my favorites is Hangman Jury
Oh, it's a great song. I
with the
remember that one.
harmonica at the beginning and the rocking chair.
Yep. Yep.
That
Yeah, that's a great
song,
song.
they did that song live later in their career.
Oh,
by
cool.
sitting on chairs. Might have even been rocking chairs. I'm not sure. I think it was just regular chairs on the edge of the stage with Joe on a what you call not an electric guitar. The oh my god,
Acoustic?
yeah, thank you, Joe
Right
on
on.
acoustic, and they did that song on a nightly basis for one of the tours.
Wow, that's really cool. That
And
is
then it
really
went into another song called "Seasons of Wither," which we'll get into later, on the same thing. And when they on the same edge of the stage on the same chairs, and they actually had some fake snow that would come down during
that's
that as
awesome.
well.
That's awesome. And I can see those two going back to back. That's really cool. Really
Yeah,
cool.
really, really cool. Hangman Jury is an absolute favorite of mine. It's talk about underrated and unknown. That unplugged show that I told you about, they
Yep.
did Hangman Jury there too, and it was fantastic.
Oh, that makes sense. Of course they would do it. Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. I want to go back and watch that whole. I want to. That is kind of getting me thinking about all those old unplugs and getting on an unplug. You know who really kicked ass on their unplugged show that surprised me was Kiss.
Oh
They
yeah.
did it. They did an incredible unplug. Maybe the best ever that I saw was the Allman Brothers, though.
Oh well, yeah. I mean that's hard to beat.
Yeah, tough one to top. But yeah, there's so many good ones though.
Clapton's was great too, though.
Clapton's was epic. I mean, you're right. I mean, that turned into an album, and one of the biggest albums of the '90s. So yeah,
Right, and Nirvana's turned into an album too, and that's one
oh,
of the best ones too.
no doubt, no doubt. Nirvana. I mean, geez, there was just so many. I mean, there were ones that people don't even remember happening that were killer. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
Aerosmith never released that one. A lot of people don't even realize they did it.
Yeah, I didn't remember them doing it at all
Yeah,
until you sent me that clip, and now I need to go back and watch the whole thing. Yeah, because I can't believe anybody missed an opportunity to turn those sets into an album after Clapton did it.
yeah, because it did so good, so well.
Yeah. Yeah, fascinating. But yeah, that was a cool era. And that this and one thing I want to say about this album before we move on from it is even though it's a super well-known song, I still think the guitar solo from Dude Looks Like a Lady is underrated. To me, it's one of my favorite solos ever.
Yeah, it's a great solo. It really is.
And the song is so popular and well known, I think it kind of maybe goes overlooked because it's so well known.
Yeah, and that created a trend for a while of having one song per album with like horns as part of the
Oh,
song.
yes, good call. Good
They
call.
they had a little bit in the '70s with Same Old Song and Dance, underrated as well. Great song.
Great song. Love that
Um,
song.
that has some horns in it as well. But do looks like a lady has some horns in it, and then one song per album for like the next few all had one song in there that implemented some horns as
Oh,
part of the
that's
song.
cool. That's a cool tidbit right there.
Yeah. Okay. So then we go on to Pump, whereas at this point I'm 14 and or 13, turning 14, and I know about the Walk This Way song. I liked it, and then I heard some Permanent Vacation stuff, Ragdoll, Do Looks Like a Lady, but not anything where I'm like, this is going to be my favorite band. I love them so much. Then Pump came out, and it changed everything. This is the album. This is a close second for my favorite album of the entire band, of their entire time. I love this album.
Yeah, it's a great album, man.
There's
It's
so many
all
things
timer.
in there. Yeah. That song, Fine, Fine,
I
is,
don't know that one. That's one I was staring at. I remember it when I listened to the if I listened to it again because I knew this album, but it's been since probably the early '90s since I listened to this whole album. So yeah, I'm gonna have to check it out again.
well, how about this? They did around this time too, they did Woodstock 94.
Did they really? I didn't remember that. Wow.
Yeah. Whatever year they revived, I think it was 94.
Yeah, you're
And
right.
they did Draw the Line. And in the middle of Draw the Line, there's another part of that section where it goes down to almost nothing, silence, and then they build back up. Well, they went
Hmm.
down to nothing, almost silence, and then did Fine,
Oh, cool.
Fine, and then it ended, and they built back up back to the end of Draw the Line.
That's awesome. I mean, that's like Grateful Dead Fish stuff right there.
It was so cool.
I
And the reason
love
why
that.
I say Fine is because if you look, it's Fine F period, I period, N period, E period.
Yes, Craig was not just demonstrating his spelling prowess.
Right. And it means fucked up, insecure, neurotic, and emotional.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, that's
Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome. Oh, that's great. I was wondering why the dots and the periods after everything, but that's awesome, man. That's great.
And it
Ah.
even references it later in one of the songs. My brand new baby is looking fine, fine.
Oh, I love it.
So anyway, the other side was another hit. Janie's Got a Gun obviously was monstrous, and the real monster was Love in an Elevator. Uh, that's at this point iconic status.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's something and one of the coolest harmony parts ever in a song.
Yep, and I tell you what, got to give Joe a lot of credit. He had a lot big solo in that one too.
Oh,
Big solo. It's just
big
that it's
song.
so commercialized and everybody knows it. It was played so much. I even got sick of it, hearing it live because they played it every single show. I saw them 30 times. They played it 30 times. So I kind of was like, ugh, after a while, only because I just heard it so much. But in and of itself, if you just listen to it, that solo is so good.
No doubt, man. No, I mean Joe's the real deal. He is one of the best ever, and he delivers. He
And
constantly delivers.
and the music video is wild. It is
Oh,
wild.
oh, abso-freaking-lutely. Oh, I mean, yeah. If anybody listening to this hasn't seen it, just pull it up right now. It's unbelievable.
I'll tell you what, the dude looks like a lady video is just as wild almost.
Well, they're
Not
both.
quite.
It was back to back. I mean, it was. I don't know if that was. It felt back to back to me, although it was. I don't know if there was other songs in between, but yeah, it was almost like building on a theme.
Yeah. So yeah, they're both big hits. They both kind of had that catchy riff. Just great stuff though. But I mean, being able to be in the crowd when they're going like Jack is in the elevator, and then instead of them saying "Whoa, yeah," they go down to nothing. The lights come on. The whole crowd goes "Whoa,
Oh, that's
whoa,
cool.
yeah." Just good stuff.
I love it. That's so awesome. By the way, where have you seen Aerosmith? Is it usually a venue like by you in Connecticut, or where have you
Yeah,
seen them?
yeah. I've never gone too far to
What's
see
your
them.
what's your hometown venue where they come?
They go to the casinos.
Oh, right on. Is that Mohegan Sun up there, or where do you go?
Yeah, Mohegan Sun and Foxwoods. They would go back and forth between them, and they were basically at one of those every single tour every year.
Okay, that's awesome. Very cool. Very cool.
That's the majority. I did see them at Jones Beach twice.
Oh, that's a legendary venue. Never been there.
Yep, and I saw them at the New York State Fair in Syracuse,
Oh, that's cool.
and I think I saw them in Boston once. I don't remember. And
Very
actually, I
cool.
don't think so. I think I was going to, and I never made it.
Okay, okay, that's cool. I was just curious. That's awesome. That's
Oh, and I
awesome.
also saw them for the first time at the New Haven Coliseum in New Haven, and that doesn't even exist anymore. They tore
Oh,
it down.
love it, love it. Well, yeah. Hey, I saw him at the Spectrum, and that got blown up 15, 20 years. I mean, Jesus, probably 30 years ago now. I'm losing track.
Ah,
I watched it explode on television where I saw Aerosmith.
oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Oh shoot, I love it. That's awesome. Yeah, great album, man. Pump is epic, and it was a big one for me too. It
Yeah.
wasn't. I loved Permanent Vacation and like that one. See, I'm roughly a year older than you, and which isn't that much in the grand scheme of things. But when you're a kid, it's everything, you
Oh,
know.
yeah.
And Permanent Vacation grabbed me like Pump grabbed you.
Right. But at this time, they were like probably the top band in the world.
Oh yeah, oh
I mean,
yeah.
they were number
It
one.
was. I mean, it was them. It was. I mean, geez, it was. And at that, because it was, they were right in that in between phase. We were. Metal was still hanging on, and grunge hadn't exploded yet.
Yep. And Guns N' Roses hadn't really come on the scene yet. Metallica was, but they kind of had their own nook. They weren't really mainstream yet.
They hadn't put out the Black Album yet, and they weren't super huge until then.
Right, right. So yeah, I mean they were winning all the awards and Grammys and Album of the Year and this and that, and They were on Saturday Night Live with Wayne's World doing the Wayne's World
That's
song.
right. That's right. Oh, that's awesome. That's right.
And you know
Oh, you're
Garth,
yeah.
Wayne's World and Garth, he always no matter what, if they were on or not or had anything to do with it or not, he always wore an Aerosmith shirt every time, every show.
Oh, I never even thought about
Even in the
that.
movies, the same shirt.
I never even noticed. Never even
Yeah,
entered. I'm sure I did, but I just,
he used to have like a flannel or something over it, so you kind of know what you're
yeah,
looking for. But if you know the shirt, which I know the shirt, that's
you
it.
can, you can see it. Oh, that's great. Oh, I
Yeah,
love that.
even when they were even when they in the movie when they see Alice Cooper
Yeah, yeah,
and they
yeah. We're
start
not worthy.
bowing to him, he's
We're
wearing
not
an
worthy.
Aerosmith shirt.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Yeah, I would love to. Wow. Well, now I know the question to ask him if I ever run into him.
Hey, Wayne,
we've been checking with him about getting on the podcast with Soul Joel, but so far he's been declining.
that would be awesome.
It would. I can't would. Oh, I love it. Awesome.
All right, so after Pump, they did a making of Pump video that I wore out the cassette on because it was so cool.
Oh, that's great.
Yep. By the way, Pump reached number 5 for the album of that year. I mean, and that's all not rock genre, every genre.
What was one, two, three, and four? Does it tell you on there?
It doesn't. Probably at this time, I think Janet Jackson was really blowing up. Stuff like that.
No, you're probably right. And Michael Jackson was still around for crying out loud.
Right, right. Um, so love it. What It Takes was the one ballad on here. Love What It Takes, one of my favorites. And they did that quite a bit live. Are you there?
Yeah, sorry. Sorry. I was trying to find the top five albums of 1989, and I got distracted. Sorry, I'm
Oh,
back.
now I was saying What It Takes was the ballad.
Oh, sure. I remember what it takes. Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
great. And that, again, still just one. There were so many just songs on there that were just not released that nobody knows about that are just so good. Don't get mad, get even. Voodoo Medicine Man. Oh my God, those are
I
such
remember
classics.
Voodoo Medicine Man. I don't remember Don't Get Mad Get Even. I'm gonna this is I'm gonna be I'm gonna listen to this album too. I'm gonna listen to all this stuff again. The What It Takes,
Opening.
by the way, was
Go
a
ahead.
great example of the Steven Tyler phrasing. And phrasing in music is your timing of using your notes. It's why the second you hear Carlos Santana play, you know it's Carlos Santana because nobody phrases their notes like Carlos Santana, right?
Right, right. Yeah, exactly.
And it's why Steven Tyler is arguably the most unique singer of all time. And when he gets to the, without thinking, you drop of anything, you on a drop of a dime, you know what I mean? Like just the
Yeah,
way he did, who does that in
yeah,
the middle of a ballad? You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like that's awesome.
Yep, yep. I love that song.
He's crazy, man.
There's a song too, the opening song called "Young Lust" that goes right into "Fine." Fine. Great, great opening, and they opened every show with that.
And
During
that's
the Pump tour, they
obviously an
opened it with
Aerosmith original, Craig, because there's an old
yes.
Pink Floyd song called
No,
Young
no,
Lust.
it's not. It's not
Okay.
same title, but it's an original. And yeah, they opened every song for the Pump tour with that song. I love that song.
That's cool. I'll check. That's another one I need to
That's a
re-listen.
real rocker, and "Fine" is one of my "Fine" is top 10 songs ever for me
That's awesome. That's freaking
from
awesome.
them. But anyway, let's move on. So they took. This is when they started taking longer to release albums. They went from 89 to 93
Wow. Okay.
without an album, but they toured extensively during this time.
Yeah, that's when I saw him. Yep.
Yeah, they toured, I think, for at least 2 years straight in support of the Pump tour.
Yep. Somewhere in that span is when I saw him at the Spectrum, and it was fire.
So, Get a Grip comes out in 1993. It is their most commercially successful album of all time. And when the critics really, when the old 70s people, people probably in their 70s who liked them in the 70s say this is the biggest downfall or whatever, yada, yada, yada. And I know what they're saying. It's because of all the ballads. Crying Crazy Amazing, right?
Right. Right.
But the thing is, yes, they did that. And then if you want to say that's selling out, go right ahead. Going commercial, go right ahead. I don't have a problem with that. But they did it. for a reason, and it worked. They wanted to stay relevant. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, it's not. It's not. Listen, there's nothing wrong with having. Listen. I was giving him crap about being Ballotsmith too, but I was a hard-headed teenager at the time.
Yeah.
Now it's these are it is fine. There's nothing wrong with having ballads on your albums. I mean, give me a break. You know,
Right. And they're good songs. There's nothing wrong with the songs. So, yeah, they,
Metallica has ballads on their albums. By the way, one of the hardest bands of all time.
yes, they do. So the thought of that, like I said, I understand it. Yes, there's more ballads on this song than on this album than any other album before it. And those three all had music videos. Alicia Silverstone became a star. His daughter
Yeah,
was
she
in one
sure
of them.
did. To the regret of a nation.
Right, and she's back then. Talk about a teenage crush. Good lord.
Oh yes. Well, the one thing that was perfect for her with those Aerosmith videos is she didn't have to talk.
Right, right. Out of the side of her mouth for some reason.
Yeah, the fame quickly went away when she had to fully act.
Right. Well, Clueless was okay. I didn't mind Clueless. Anyway,
Yes, no, she was fine in that, but yeah, find anything she did 5 years after that.
yeah, nothing. There's nothing.
But no, it was perfect time and place, and it was also great because we didn't have to cringe over Steven's daughter making out in his own video.
Eh, yeah,
Which I always thought was a little weird, but I get it. It's all right.
right. Um, but yeah, Alicia was an absolute smoke show at that time,
Oh
and
yeah,
the videos were all really well done. I know for sure, "Crying" won Video of the Year on MTV that year.
they were like mini movies.
Yeah, people thought like you watch reactions to them now, and I get frustrated when people watch music videos because they pay attention to the video, not the music, and then annoys the
Same.
crap out
Thank you
of
for
me.
saying that.
Annoys the crap out of me.
Me too.
But sometimes they'll be like, "What movie is this from?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "It's not." Same thing. Janie's Got a Gun was like a movie too.
Yeah, man. No, them and the other one that from that same time frame that always stood out to me because you had Aerosmith just cranking out these unbelievable videos, and then uh, Guns N' Roses put out that one to
Oh, and Don't Cry and November
oh,
Rain.
November Rain is what I'm thinking of, where like
It
they're
was a
they're cruising
trilogy.
around. I mean, it's ridiculous. Slash is playing guitar solos on the top of a mountain. Axel's driving cigarette boats around, acting like James Bond. I mean, it's insane.
Right, right.
I love it.
So
It was a
again,
glorious era, and it brought about the end of the era too because they cost so much money. You know.
so they had 5 hits in the U.S. off this album and 6 in the U.K. They had "Living on the Edge," which I liked.
Sure,
Eat, Eat,
that's a good song. Heck
yeah,
yeah,
"Crying," "Amazing," "Crazy," and "Eat the Rich." Do you know "Eat the Rich"?
I know "Eat the Rich." Absolutely, yeah, it's a good song.
I love those drums in "Eat the Rich." The dum dum. Oh man.
It's a really good song. It might be my favorite one on the album. Actually, I don't know. I'd have to think about that more, but I
Yeah,
like that
there's
song a
another
lot.
song on there called "Fever," which I really love, and that might be my
That
favorite
one I
one.
don't know. I'll have to check that one out. That's cool.
I
Fever.
reacted to "Fever." I put it on my channel.
Oh well, then that'll be a perfect way to check it out. Then
It's a
awesome.
live version, but they do it basically right off the studio, so it's fine.
Oh, I'll
They
check it out.
don't
That's
change
awesome.
it. Um, and then another song called "Shut Up and Dance," which was in the Wayne's World 2 movie, which they were in on the soundtrack, and they performed it live in the Wayne's World movie. It's an okay song, but it's kind of a weird one to be released in the UK. I'm not entirely sure why. It's fine. There's nothing great about it, though. But
That's
regardless,
interesting. Yeah, yeah. It's always fascinating to find out why something gets big somewhere else. You know,
right.
that's
So they
cool.
had releases from March of '93 till May of '94.
Over a year of just releasing hits.
Yeah, "Living on the Edge" was March '93. "Eat the Rich" was June '93. "Crying" was July '93. "Amazing" was November '93. And "Crazy" was May '94.
That's an incredible run.
And "Shut Up and Dance" in the UK was released in June '94.
Jeez. I mean,
So,
that's
yeah, it's their highest rated album. Another thing people criticize is the fact that they stopped being the sole writers of their songs. They collabed with a lot of people.
Oh, well, shit. So what?
Yeah, I don't doesn't matter to me as long as they're not completely not writing their songs. They're just involved with other people. Like every
Yeah,
one of the guys is called. His name is Desmond Child.
I know that name. I don't know why.
Yeah, he wrote a lot of the songs. It'd be like writing credits would be like Perry, Tyler, Child,
Okay, okay.
things like that.
I have no problem with that. Listen, you know who wouldn't have a single song hardly if they didn't collaborate with anybody? How about the Grateful Dead?
Right, right, right.
I love the Grateful Dead. Without Robert Hunter, half of their catalog is gone.
Yeah,
You know who else? How about Elton John's entire career gone?
right. He didn't write any of
Bernie
it.
Taupin. Yeah. So anybody that has a problem with that is an idiot. And the pop, like, if you wanna talk about people that don't write their songs, just go to the pop world.
Right. Oh yeah.
That's why a Taylor Swift, much like Jordan is our baseball unicorn, she's a unicorn of the pop world because she actually writes her own music.
Yep, yep, yep. Jimmy Valance, I know that name somewhere. He wrote "Eat the Rich" with Tyler and Perry. He wrote "Get a Grip," the actual cover album song. That's a good song too. "Fever" was just Tyler and Perry, so there you go. So "Living on the Edge" was Mark Hudson with them, and Desmond Child was with Flesh. Yeah, so a lot of songs were a few people. Oh, Lenny Kravitz has a writing credit for the song "Line Up"
Get out. That's cool.
with Tyler and Perry. They're all Tyler Perry and somebody.
Real quick side note, if you'll indulge me for a second, Craig. Since you brought up Lenny Kravitz, check this out. So I used to work. My first teaching job as a guitar teacher was at a place called Fred's Music in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, in the late '90s, and I worked with a guy there named Shay Quinn. Now, Shay Quinn is the closest thing to a rock star that I've ever known very well. Shay Quinn was in a band called the Sharks, who was before the band Live was the biggest thing to ever come out of Lancaster, and they finished. Check this out. They finished second. Do you remember by any chance MTV used to have this bracket style competition between it was called I think what they called it the Battle of Bands, I think. And
Yeah,
you would call and weekly, and they would whittle it down until there's a final matchup, and then that band would win some big prize.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so my buddy Shay's band, the Sharks, finished second. I believe it was 1982 or three, something like that. To check this one out, Kajagoogoo, Too Shy.
Really?
Yep, they lost to Too Shy. And now the Kajagoogoo ends up being one of the biggest one-hit wonders of all time, and not a whole lot of people remember the Sharks. But in the meantime, they toured the world. My buddy dated downtown Julie Brown.
Holy shit!
All right. And somewhere along the way, he becomes buddies with Lenny Kravitz. And one night he called in, or one day he called in and said, "But guys, if you can cover for me, I'd like to be a little late to work today." I said, "Well, what's going on?" He's like, "Well, I went to see Lenny Kravitz in State College, and a fifth of Jack later, I woke up in Lenny's hotel, and I got to drive back, and I'm 2 hours away."
That is a great reason to be late for work.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said, "Take your time, buddy. We got you covered."
That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
Love it.
Oh, I love it. So that's awesome. And Lenny Kravitz wrote a song. This is cool, man. And I have zero issue with them collaborating. They have proved by how many albums now they have proved their creative force. They don't need to
Right.
prove anything else to
That was their
anybody.
11th album, studio album, not including collabs, greatest hits and live and all that.
And even in their most drugged out, they threw three covers on an album and still wrote their songs. Other than that,
Yeah. Yep.
so give me a break. That kind of critique is by simple-minded, stupid people that never wrote a song themselves.
Yep. Okay. Now,
And now let me tell you how I really feel about it. Sorry, go ahead.
oh man, you got me joking over here.
Sorry, man. Don't let that get out of hand. I am too far away to Heimlich you.
My daughter's here. I'm good.
Oh, good, good, good. All right, nice.
Okay, now we move on. Again, another 4 years, and Nine Lives comes out.
Now, real
And
quick, Craig, where in this is this now the famous 10 album, $100 million record deal?
this is the first new record deal after Geffen. They went back to Columbia. It wasn't 10 albums. I think it was five.
Okay, five for 100 million,
Yeah, they all got $25 million.
which is considered the last great record deal in the history of the music business.
Right, because then everybody went to streaming, and their streaming contract is insane too. Like with Apple I think paid something like $150 million for their for
Wow,
their catalog to be on Apple Music.
wow.
Their album sales is quite impressive. A lot of people don't realize this. In a time when like Madonna was around during when album sales were a big deal, right?
Yes, absolutely. Michael Jackson. Yep, absolutely.
Michael Jackson, all those. Um, I'm trying to pull it up now. I'm sorry. Um, but like even these bands that you think are a big deal, Aerosmith dwarfs them in sales. They have 151 million albums sold.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's
Like
crazy.
you look at somebody like you think would blow them out of the water, and they don't. In fact, Aerosmith usually blows them out. The only one that's close is the Eagles, and I think the Eagles might have even went by them now, but they're right around the same, or about the same. Um, but like all these bands that come around, you think they're a big deal, and you look and it's like, oh, 60 million albums sold, 80 million albums sold, 25 million. Aerosmith's got 151. It's
Yeah, that's
crazy.
amazing. Amazing. I mean, there's only a handful of bands that top that, and and they're some of the bands you would expect, like Pink Floyd and
Oh yeah,
Eagles,
yeah.
like you said, and those are the biggest bands of all time. And Aerosmith is right there with them. Like, I don't understand. Like, Aerosmith almost has this sort, almost like a Philly feel. Like they're this permanent underdog, which is so crazy because they're the
They
biggest, one
they
of the
never
biggest
get
bands of all time.
they do not get credit at all. It's quite annoying when people mention great bands or whatever. They like throw them in as like a joke almost. It's like, what are you talking about?
It's Yeah, it's very strange, very strange. Because they're also one of the best bands in history at staying good for the length of their career. Like, there's a lot of bands that just fall off the map. There's bands that either somebody died and they couldn't continue, Led Zeppelin. So we never got to see if they could survive the 80s and still be good, because most of those great bands from back then sucked in the 80s. Something happened. They started using crappy keyboard sounds. They did too much drugs, whatever it was, and you can find some really bad albums from some really great acts from the 60s and 70s that were made in the 80s.
Hmm.
It didn't happen to Aerosmith. It happened. They had a couple. They had a one
They,
down
they,
album in the late
they-
70s and blah blah blah.
yeah, and they had like a renaissance in their career. They came
Exactly.
back
And not
better
many
than they've
bands
ever
get
been.
that.
Yeah, they came back better than they've ever been.
Yeah, which
They were
is, it's
in,
very
in, di-
very.
in
I don't know if there's another example of that. I can't think of one off the top of my head for sure. So yeah, I don't understand why they're in this outcast role. I don't get it. They
yeah.
shouldn't be.
Um, they what was I going to say? I forgot. Well, whatever. Um, shoot. Oh, Motley Crue, by the way,
Mhm.
pretty big band.
Absolutely.
100 million albums.
Yeah.
Aerosmith has them by 50 million albums.
Yeah. Right.
Motley Crue's been around forever.
Right.
It's insane. Anyway, well, their popularity has never waned, really. It's just like in the industry, the quote unquote like respect factor is not there for some of them.
It's
But
very strange. Yeah.
yeah, so Nine Lives comes along, and they have "Falling in Love Is Hard on the Knees" which was a hit and had Mila Kunis in it, I believe.
What?
Yeah, and also
That's awesome.
was it Mila Kunis? No, maybe it was. No, it wasn't Mila Kunis. I forgot who it was. Mila Kunis was in "Jaded," which is an album coming out.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Okay.
"Hole in My Soul," which was a ballad, and then they had "Pink," which won a Grammy for the best song, best rock performance by a duo or group.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, the video is very interesting. If you ever want to see a cool video, watch the video for Pink. It's really, really good. Um,
Cool. This. Yeah. This. I. I'll say real quick, by the time this album came out, I had completely checked out. I was not. Aerosmith could have put out their best album of all time, and I wouldn't have
It
cared
is,
at
man.
all.
It is. This is my favorite album.
Oh, this is the one. Okay,
Yep,
okay.
this is my favorite
Yeah.
album by them. And
Well,
by
they
the way,
did,
I
and I
saw
didn't
somebody rank.
care at the time.
I saw somebody rank Aerosmith's albums, and literally,
Uh-huh.
this was literally last.
Oh, that's crazy.
And I think it's their best one. That song that I had you do or listen to, "Something's Got to Give,"
Yeah, it's amazing.
it's on this album. Nine Lives, the opening track, they've opened with it all the way up until their final residency in Vegas. Sometimes, not all the time, but that still in the rotation. Um, "Hold My Soul" is okay. "Taste of India" is very unique. I love that song. The drums in there are great. "Full Circle" has some of the best lyrics. "Something's Got to Give" is a hard rocker, by the way. You listen to that song. That song rocks. Um, it's weird though. That's another thing. Like all the people that love all the '70s stuff say that they became Balladsmith and that they didn't rock anymore. And it's like, no, they rocked harder later than they've ever rocked in the '70s, in
Yeah,
my
people get
opinion.
a idea and attitude about
But
something, and they just
like
don't.
that
They
song,
won't
"Something's
listen.
Got to Give." That was harder than anything they ever did in the '70s. That's a metal song almost.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, that's just people just wanting to stick to their opinion, and despite all evidence to the contrary.
Yeah. There's another song here called "Ain't That a Bitch," which has some more horns.
Ah, nice. The horn thing continues. I like
Yep,
that.
"Falling in Love" also has some horns, hard on the knees. There's a song called "The Farm." Love "The Farm," not a ballad. And then "Crash" is no doubt a metal song. "Crash" is an absolute metal song.
Oh, cool.
And again,
This-
why they don't release any of this stuff? They release the ballads, and people just think that's what the whole album is, and it's not. They release the
yeah,
ballads to
yeah.
create the
It's funny
ballads to
because
stay relevant.
and obviously the industry wasn't interested in their rock and stuff either at the time. You know,
Right,
just because it didn't fit into whatever was going on at the time.
right. So they filled up the arenas with ballads and stayed relevant with ballads, but then you get the album and it's like, whoa, this is like a hard rock album. This
Yeah,
is their
man.
hardest album.
And
Um,
again, I have zero issue with ballads. I mean, at the time, being a dumbass teenager, I was calling him Balladsmith too. But who cares? And by the way, I can't wait to hear about track 13 on this album.
Awful.
Really?
I don't like it. "Fallen
Okay, because it
Angels."
is by far the longest track I've ever seen by Aerosmith.
Yeah, it goes on too long. I don't like it. It seems like that's the first time that it's not awful. I can't say that. It's solid, but it's not great.
Okay.
Um, it's one of my least favorite ballads they've ever made. It's the
Oh, it's a
only
ballad.
song. Yo, it's a big time ballad.
Oh,
It's
8 minutes of a ballad. Holy moly.
it's the longest. Yeah, I don't like it. They made a video for it too. I'm not on board with that. Um, but "Pink" was great. "Attitude Adjustment" is a hidden gem. I love "Attitude Adjustment." "Kiss Your Past Goodbye" is the best ballad and one of the best ballads they've ever made, and
Oh,
that should
cool.
should have been the one that got the video and got released, and no one knows about it.
Damn.
But I mean, you go from "Nine Lives," which is an absolute hard rock song, "Falling in Love," which is like a cross-platform kind of a song that was released for the radio. "Hold My
Okay.
Soul" ballad, okay. But then you got "Taste of India," not a ballad. "Something's Got to Give" on a hard rock song. What would you say what that one is? Is that's borderline on almost not metal, but hard rock? You
Oh,
listen to that
absolutely.
one.
Yeah, absolutely. Freaking loop. I mean, I would, it's funny because there's very few hard rock or heavy metal songs that have harmonica in it. So that makes me hesitate on how to classify it, but it is hard rock for sure.
Yeah,
Um, and by the way, if that song is an indication of how this album was recorded, this is going to be in competition with for best sounding Aerosmith album ever
yeah, and that's how they record it. Yeah,
because it's unbelievable. That song, it sounds the Joe Perry's guitar tone on that song is huge, and he's always had great tone, but it's better than ever on that album, or
yep.
at least that one song that I've heard so far.
"The Farm," not an album. "Crash," like I said, is an absolute metal song.
Hmm.
"Crash" is metal, and then "Pink" is kind of poppy, and they won a Grammy. And then Attitude Adjustment, like I said, is a hidden gem. They have a few things listed on Wikipedia. A song called "Falling Off" and "Fall Together" as like Japanese bonus tracks.
Oh, okay.
And "Fall Together" should have been on the album. "Fall Together," I just think of it as being on this album. "Fall Together" is fantastic. I love that song.
Well, that's fascinating. Wow. So they gave it to the Japanese, but not everybody else.
Yeah,
Fascinating.
I mean, you could look it up on YouTube and find it.
No, no, no. I know
But
we can find that stuff now, but back then you would have had to buy the Japanese import.
right, and I didn't know about it. I didn't know about it for years. And
I
then
only
all of a
know
sudden, it's
about.
like all these B sides, and people were talking about B sides in early days of YouTube and stuff. Early days of what was that music uh, app that everybody stole music from that got
Yeah,
sued?
yeah, Napster.
Napster. Early days of Napster, all that stuff. I finally pulled it up, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is one of their best songs."
That's cool. Yeah, you used to have to like. I remember having to buy Buckethead's first album as a Japanese import because he got big in Japan before he got big in America.
Yep, and there's two covers to this album too, because one was controversial,
Oh,
I think.
well, I think I only saw the one that you sent me, which is like a guy, like, or no, like a cat man with his arms and legs out.
Right. I don't know why that got replaced. Something on there got replaced for
That's the
some.
one that got replaced.
Yeah. If
Oh,
if you or maybe that's the one that replaced the other one. The other one was a cat woman with a
oh, I
bunch
see
of
that now. Yeah.
snakes.
Yes.
I don't know which one came out first. Oh yeah, there you go. Original album cover was the cat woman, replaced due to controversy. I don't know what the controversy is.
Probably some preacher saw phallic symbols in the snakes and then realized he was gay.
Honestly, you said you found the cover. Can you find anything controversial?
No, there's a cat woman and some snakes. My guess would be some freakazoid saw penises in the snakes,
That's craziness.
but I have no idea because there's nothing on there that says controversial at all to me. There's a cat woman in pants with a sachet, a jaunty little sachet around her waist, and a bunch of snakes. That's it.
Yeah, weird.
Okay, fascinating. My guess would be Jerry Falwell was involved.
So that's my favorite album of all time. I love
Right
that
on.
album. That's my favorite. Um,
My introduction to it, thanks to you, is A plus. So I can't wait to check out more.
awesome, awesome. So right after this, Armageddon comes out, and of course the ballad of all ballads. I don't want to miss a thing. But if you're wondering why they released these ballads and they sold out this and that, I don't want to miss a thing was the number one song in the country and their only number one hit ever.
Are you kidding me?
That's their only number one. I mean,
That's
rock,
crazy.
not rock hit, like pop top 40 number one. That
Yeah,
was the only one they've ever had.
incredible.
And by the way,
Absolutely
they're the
incredible.
only American rock band to ever have a number one.
Really?
Yeah, American rock band.
That's wild.
Plenty of British ones, but not American. Like
Wow.
Guns N' Roses, surprisingly, never had a number one song.
Wow. That's hard to believe. That's incredible. Yeah, because the top 40 is a whole animal unto itself. Yeah, you could just get stuck behind Madonna
Yeah,
for, like you said, for 86 weeks.
right. Or Taylor Swift now. Like
Yeah,
you're not.
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So first and only American rock band to have a number one hit, and that was it. And that's why they made the ballads, guys. Because you know what? A bunch of teenagers went to go see their shows again because they want to hear that song.
Yeah, and listen, you can, I mean, I'm sure there's some band that held to whatever these critics' high moral standards are about their
And
songwriting that they
they're
don't do
playing,
themselves.
and they're
But
playing in bingo halls.
exactly, I'm sure they can go see them at their local VFW.
Right, and Aerosmith selling out arenas. So I think
Exactly.
there's a reason.
Yeah, man.
So I mean, yeah, money hungry, greedy, whatever you want to say, uh,
I
whatever.
would call it smart and successful.
Right. It was like the prom song of every friggin' high school prom that year.
Yeah, yeah. And do I ever want to hear that song again? Not really.
Not
But
really.
good for them. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
look,
And,
if
and
it
and good for them too that even though they play it live a lot, they don't play it every show, which is good.
that's cool. Yeah, yeah. They recognize what it was, and they have so much rockin' stuff to back up their ballads that the criticisms are just ridiculous. It's
Some of their
stupid.
least favorite songs are their ballads. Like Steven Tyler's, the song he hates the most that they've ever created is Angel. He hates Angel.
Ah,
He's going
right
on record
on.
to say it. He doesn't like it.
I love it. That's really cool. Yeah, that's I don't have any problem with somebody writing a song and it getting popular.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like
How you gonna?
there's this
Right.
thing in the rock world where people love to tear down success, and I find it gross.
Yep. Or what about fans of something and they hate everything that they do?
Right? Exactly. Exactly. And that there's that is super prevalent in the metal world.
Yep.
There
Although,
are
yeah, there's Metallica fans. When every time they release a new album, they say it's garbage.
there's Metallica fans that still haven't forgiven them for cutting their hair.
Yeah, they're 60-year-old men. What the hell do you want them to do?
Exactly. Exactly. It's no there's the famous thing of somebody gets into some band that's semi underground, they get popular and they call them a sellout. It's just it's stupid. The band that you loved now has enough success to continue doing the thing that you loved. And for people that hate on that, I think
What,
it's
I mean, like like the worst are like wrestling fans.
oh yeah, yeah,
My
yeah,
God,
yeah.
you go to a wrestling website where they have comments, and
Hmm.
everybody shits all over everything,
Yes.
everything
Yes.
that's happening.
Absolutely. You find it astonishing that anybody watches it. The numbers that they put up, somebody must like it. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, the thing is, the
Like
people that shit all over, they're the ones watching it too, because they're there
ex-
every week after every Raw. Oh, that was the worst show I've ever seen. Well, stop watching it, and then the next
right.
week it'll be, oh, that was terrible. Like
Then what are we doing here?
yeah,
Like what in the world?
Star Wars fans, forget about it. Star Wars gets crap from everybody. Oh, Disney
Oh,
ruined Star Wars. Yeah. Meanwhile, a lot of people's favorite Star Wars movie is Rogue One, which was a Disney movie.
right, right. And listen, George Lucas did a great job of ruining it himself with the first three. So,
But now people love those for some reason.
boy, that's quite a turnaround.
Yeah, because when they came out, they got crapped all over. But again, because they're new, it's these people that grew up a certain way with those original three movies.
Yep.
Whereas anything new, they just immediately it's just programmed into them. I must hate this.
Must take absolute 100%. I think
They
it's
hate
silly.
anything new, anything.
Absolutely. Yeah, because the same people that are bitching about Disney ruining Star Wars are the same people that bitched about George Lucas ruining Star Wars himself when the prequels came out. And they were probably, if they were alive, they were probably bitching about Empire Strikes Back when it came out because it wasn't the first one.
Right? Probably. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, it's insane. Meanwhile, The Mandalorian is one of the best series I've ever seen of any show ever. I
Absolutely.
love Mandalorian's great.
Absolutely. I'm disappointed they decided to go down the movie path instead of continuing as a show, but I'm just glad it's continuing in some form.
Right. Yeah. It had a nice run. Plus, Pedro Pascal's become such a big star, he can't even be in the suit anymore
Yeah,
because he
they
doesn't.
can't put him in something and not use his face.
Right, and they had no plans for the helmet to ever come off again, so you were never going to see him. And he had The Last of Us and a few other things to do, and so now he just goes in the studio and records his audio in a few days, and then he's done.
Yeah, no, no, it makes perfect sense. It does.
By the way, The Last of Us is another one. Season one, everybody loved, went crazy, won awards. Season two, everybody's just crapping all over it.
Yeah, and I'm waiting. I have a issue with my current TV situation, so I'm gonna catch up on that eventually. But I'm definitely planning on watching it.
Did you see season one?
Yeah, I loved it.
Loved it. Did you ever play the games?
I started the game, but that it's a very good game. It's just not the type I like to play. I like free range stuff.
Right. Well, Last of Us two uh, is what the season two is based on.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, and it's oh man, it's brutal, and there's a lot of stuff, and there's some, and of course Ellie is a lesbian, and of course that immediately a lot of people hate that. Oh,
Oh,
why did they
geez.
gotta add that in there? And it's like, well, it's part of the source material. She's a
Yeah, it's not like
lesbian
they
in that
just
game.
crammed it in there to make a, oh, hey, here, we're in these times. Let's throw in a lesbian. No, if they got it from the source material, what are you bitching about?
Right. So anyway, I liked it. I still like the series, but yeah, the ratings are way lower this year than it was, and people again are crapping all over what they love.
Oh, that's a shame, man. Do we know if there's going to be a season 3 or are we not there yet?
Well, there's no game. There's no part three for the game. Part one
Ah,
was season one. Part two was season two. There is no part three.
yeah, but they've done that with, I mean, many other series.
Yeah, right. They could possibly.
I
Sure.
mean, Resident Evil has 800 things to it, and there was like 2 games.
Well, there's a lot of games actually now. There's like seven or eight. But anyway,
Yeah, well, true, but there were 7 or 8 movies by 2009.
right. Oh yeah, since then, yeah, and now they're re-releasing them all. But anyway, that was quite the tangent. Let's continue.
Love it. Love it. So where are we? That's awesome.
Run to Just Push Play,
Okay. Cool, cool.
which is 4 years later again. And Just Push Play is what the old people call just pure pop.
Okay.
There's a song called Jaded, which was a hit. That's the one Mila Kunis is in the video. The song Just Push Play, they this was an absolute experimental album. There's no two ways about it. They went
Interesting.
the old school way of experimentation and just tried a bunch of different things. There's he speaks Jamaican in Just Push Play, the song. There's a song called Fly Away From Here that's a ballad, but it's
Wait,
okay.
are you sure it wasn't Tom Hanks' son sitting in?
That's a great reference.
My man.
There's a great song called Sunshine, which I really liked. I People again kill this album. There's a great song, the opening called Beyond Beautiful, which I love. That's one of my favorites. Jaded is really, really good. Sunshine is really good. Under My Skin, Love Lies, Out of Your Head. Out of Your Head is almost like a rap song. He is rhyming very fast in that song. Drop Dead Gorgeous, absolutely love it. And Avant Garde and Light Inside, decent songs. They're okay. But another one of these B songs, international versions, had a song called Face,
Okay.
and Face should have been on the album. It is better than almost every song on this album except from like one or two.
I was waiting for you to say it because I saw that the length in the US is 48 minutes and 56 seconds and internationally 53 minutes and 34 seconds. So I knew there was another song coming.
Yeah,
And fascinating that they're putting these bangers on international onlys.
yeah, but I've heard it. It's so good. That might be my favorite unreleased B-side song of Aerosmith's ever. I love
Wow.
that song.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool.
So a decent album, not my favorite, but it's not as bad as Done with Mirrors or Rockin' a Hard Place or Right in the Nuts. It's better than all those. I just call I That's what they call it, and they tried to name it that, and they couldn't. They got blocked by the record label, so they switched the N and the R and made it right Night in the Ruts.
That's, I mean, right in the nuts. I'm with you. That's what I'm going to
Right.
call it from now on. That's
So
awesome.
it's better than all three of those. And I know that that's sacrilege to some of these older guys, but sorry, that's how I feel.
Hey,
Um,
man.
so fine, no problem. Then we move on to 3 years later, 2004, to Honkin' on Bobo.
Okay. Which, well, you sent me a track from, so I'm somewhat familiar with it, one track at least now.
Right? I sent you Baby Please Don't Go. This was another kind of experimental album. Um, they took a chance and made an entire blues album of just covers of the blues, which is why it didn't take 4 years in between to release, because they just had to do the cover of a song. They didn't have to write any of the songs.
Right, right, no doubt, no doubt. And I'll say
And
this too, real quick. By the way, the sound, and on this album was right there with Nine Lives for blowing my mind with the. I mean, it's incredible sound. And you mentioned something off air about how it was recorded. And I'm sure you'll throw that in while you're talking about this.
right, yeah, it was recorded live. They did not record anything individually. So if
Live in studio.
right, so if the drums screwed up, he didn't wasn't able to go back, because even if you try to relay the drums down, the when he screwed up would be picked up by the other mics, the guitar mic or the bass mic would have picked it up. So you got to redo the whole thing.
Yeah, it what that means to the non-musician out there that might not know what we're talking about. And Craig, you've done so much research on music. You understand the it makes, first of all, the skill level of the band has to be such that they can pull off a song from beginning to end. Now most bands can do that, but not all of them today. And second of all, they have to play it perfectly from beginning to end, because there's you can't polish out the type of mistake that that type of recording would allow. So anything you're hearing on there is them playing for real, and that's so rare anymore.
Right, because what they do instead is they lay the the drummer listens to everything going on in the song, and he does the drums. And if he screws something up, restart, and he does the drums again. There's none of that. You can't do that when you're recording live.
That's it. It's go, and if somebody messes up, they do the whole song again until nobody messes up.
Right.
That's it. And you have to be really good to do that. So it's really cool.
By the way, Joe Perry created a studio in his house or office house or something at his residence somewhere called the Boneyard, and this album was recorded in the Boneyard.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
And I think Nine Lives was too. I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, it's funny because those are the two albums where the sound jumped out of the speakers at me.
Yep. And yeah, you're absolutely right. So it probably was both of them.
That's
Um,
really interesting.
Honkin' on Bobo, funny things. Honkin' on Bobo is a euphemism for, you could probably figure it out. And and also, it's Honkin' on Bobo is the harmonica. There's a lot of harmonica in this on this album because it is a blues album. It is a straight blues album. All their blues influence, which people may not realize, Aerosmith is a blues rock band. They are heavily heavily influenced in the blues, like straight up, a lot of blues. So, I mean,
No
on this
doubt.
album, you've got Bo Diddley song, uh, Sonny Boy Williamson has a song. They cover one of his songs. Fred McDowell, um, Reverend Gary Davis.
Yep. Yep.
I
Blind Willie
mean,
Dixon.
yeah, Willie Dixon. Come on,
Yep. I mean, this is one of the most interesting ones on this to me, because most of them are old school blues guys, like all the names you just said. Track 11 is one I really want to check out too, because that is a Fleetwood Mac cover. Now,
yeah.
people,
Joe played that every once this was released. He played that every single show, giving Steven a break. Even
oh,
though it's
cool.
not his best song. His best
Hmm.
song was actually on Get a Grip. But he once this came out, he played this every single show, and Steven just kind of walked off stage, and he came back at the end to do the harmonica.
Oh, that's cool. Well, Peter Green, if anybody doesn't know who Peter Green is out there, Peter Green is one of these legendary guitar players that unfortunately had mental issues and fell off the map. The people that are hearing us talking about Aerosmith covering a Fleetwood Mac song on a blues album might be wondering what the hell we're drinking. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
But if you don't know this is not the incarnation that did Rihanna and all that stuff. This is the incarnation with Peter Green playing his Les Paul and tearing it up. This is the Fleetwood Mac that wrote the song Black Magic Woman
Yep,
that Santana made famous. So this is a whole different band almost. And it's a very cool band. It's kind of one of the saddest what ifs in rock history is what if Peter Green had been able to keep himself together. And and I can't wait to check out Joe Perry's cover of that. That's really cool.
It's excellent. It's so good. The best song on the album though is a song called "You Gotta Move" by Mississippi Fred McDowell.
Ah,
Best
cool.
song on the album. I never heard it before. I went back and listened to the original. It is nothing like the original. The thing is with this album is it's a blues album, but it's an Aerosmith album.
Yeah, it's
This is,
Aerosmith playing the blues. Yeah, no doubt.
yeah, it is more of a rock album, to be honest. I mean, they kill. Like you heard "Baby Please Don't Go."
Yeah. Oh, it's that's wildly different than. I mean, I know that is one of the most. It's funny because they picked a really cool selection of cover of songs to cover here. Most every song on this album, except for "Baby Please Don't Go," is a deep cut, like a real deep cut, and very cool stuff. Like I'm a lifelong guitar player, guitar teacher, and there's a couple songs on here I've never heard of, which is I can't. I've It's very rare to find an album of blues covers where I don't know the songs. So this is super cool.
You
But
ever hear
Baby Please
"Eyesight"?
Don't Go has been covered by 1,000 people, and
Yep.
they do it different than everybody, and it's turbocharged and it's badass.
Yeah, it's one of Steven Tyler's best screams.
No doubt.
Another great one, "Eyesight to the Blind" by Sonny Boy Williamson. Great, great song. That is, I mean, that's straight out of like the blues in like the 40s. I mean, it is ridiculous, that song.
That's cool. That's very
And then their
cool.
own song that they created, just they made one song on their own. It's called "The Grind," and it fits right in.
I'm
They
looking
can.
forward to that. Who's Marty Fredrickson, by the way?
That's one of the outside writers that people criticize him for. He wrote a bunch of songs on them with them in the last like three albums.
Oh, cool. Yeah, you probably mentioned his name and I just didn't catch it, but it's again cool. You know, they wrote a
Yeah,
song. If Marty Fredrickson joined the party, great. So what?
yeah, right,
Love
right,
it.
right, right. So yeah, so love that one. Love that album. That's one of. It's hard to say how much I like it in terms of like ranking it with the other albums because it's all covers. So how
Yeah,
really,
it's just a very different. It's a unique thing.
yeah. So I don't really rank it, but it is one of my favorite. I love this album. There's some of these albums, and basically almost all these albums. At some point or another, I'm just like I'm gonna listen to an entire album on my way into work and just listen to it. And this is one of them.
Yeah, I'm looking forward. This is another one that I was not familiar with going into this exercise, and that I'm really looking forward to checking out the whole thing now.
All right. Well, let's fast forward
And
8 years.
by the way, it's instantly my favorite album title ever by Aerosmith.
Oh yeah, one other little tidbit is the harmonica was so prevalent they actually gave you a harmonica in the case with the disc, not a mini one, and a full size harmonica was part of the sales album sales.
I'm glad you remembered to say that because you told me that off air, and I thought that was so cool, man. I mean, that's old. That's I don't know many marketing things that were happening like that in 2004. I mean, I know you can buy Cheech and Chong's album in 1975, a record, and it came with a giant rolling paper, which is one of the most legendary things ever for like that. And things like that happened back then, but in 2004, that's so cool. Love it.
Yeah. Okay, so let's
All
fast
right.
forward 8 years.
Oh my God, 8 years.
They go 8 years, and then they come out with an album called "Music from Another Dimension." Did not do that great. Does not have a lot of hits, but like anything else, there's hidden gems in there that nobody knows about because they didn't release them. What could have been love and can't stop loving you are the ballads. Um, not that great. They're just ballads. Carrie Underwood is on one of them. I forgot which one.
Oh,
I think she's on "Can't Stop Loving You." Um, also, what's his face is John Lennon's son, Julian Lennon, is on one of these
okay.
albums. Is on one of these as well.
Interesting.
They had a lot of they did a lot of different things with this album. The song "Legendary Child" was released. They played it on what's the music competition that Steven Tyler was on?
American Idol.
American Idol. They played this on American Idol. Oh yeah. By the way, at this time, Steven Tyler joins American Idol, and everybody criticizes him for it. He's a rock god. Why is he doing this? They're going to be doing pop songs. Meanwhile, Aerosmith's sales, because people are realizing that he was on in this band, go up 230% while he's on the show.
Oh, yeah, man. People just like to hate, you know?
230% while he was
Yeah,
on the show.
well, I think the proof is in the pudding who was right about that move.
And he was great on there, by the way. He was funny as hell.
He was hilarious. It's the only time I ever watched that show was when he was on it.
Yeah,
And
me too. I never watched one other episode other than when he was on it, and he was hysterical. He was a riot.
he was so funny. And sorry, dropped my phone for a second there. It reminded me. It was very similar. I don't know which one happened first, actually, but it was very similar to Howard Stern doing America's Got Talent.
Yeah, yep, yep.
You know, so Howard Stern wants to do something different for the first time in 40 years. Good
And
for
people,
him.
and I bet you people shit on him for it.
I guarantee 1,000%. People like I mean, people will find something to shit on people for anything. And Howard Stern, listen, he's been catching crap for 10 plus years now just because he's not the crazy psycho he was in the 80s and 90s. And we found out that what Howard really wanted after all these years was just to be invited to the party with the cool kids. And now that he stopped making fun of the cool kids.
Yeah, yep.
And good for him. He got invited to the party he always wanted to get to.
Totally agree. Yep.
I love it, man.
Okay, so the legendary child was pretty good. Oh, by the way, real quick, if you want to look something up, and those listening, really good version of Dream On is on the American Idol season 1 because he was on 2 seasons. The end of season 1, he does a good version of Dream On, and season 2 is when they do Legendary Child.
Oh, cool. Okay. I'm
And
sure I saw them
also,
at the time. I don't remember.
yep, also in this time, Howard Stern's birthday bash was one of these years, and him and the band Train
Yeah.
and the guitarist for Guns N' Roses,
Slash.
Slash. Thank you. Did Dream On for the Howard Stern's birthday bash, and it is literally easily one of the best versions of Dream On I've ever heard.
Wow. Okay. I'm going to check that out. That's fascinating.
Okay, let's real quick. I'll go over some of the tracks here. I didn't go over the tracks of the early stuff because everybody knows those pretty much. Um, Beautiful's okay. Oh yeah, kind of was a hit. They played that quite a bit live. Love Three Times was okay. Out Go the Lights is my favorite song on the album. It is so unique. Cowbell, all kinds of great stuff on there.
Nice.
And then two ballads at the end called We All Fall Down and Another Last Goodbye. And I got to tell you, We All Fall Down is one of their best ballads. And Another Last Goodbye might be the best singing, just vocals, nothing else, just vocals that Steven Tyler's ever done.
Oh,
His
interesting.
voice is immaculate in that
Well, and
song.
that's saying an awful lot because he is one of the best
And
singers in rock history.
right,
So,
and I'm not talking the raspiness. I'm not
yeah,
talking
yeah, yeah.
really
No, just
being
straight, just singing. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, not talking the
yeah.
raspy, the
Not the
growl,
Tyler histrionics,
right, the shrieking, all that, which is
which
always
is a lot of
impressive.
fun, and I love it. But it's
Right,
not that case in this song. It's just singing. I'm with you. That's
right.
cool.
He also around this time had the blood vessels in his throat pop, and he had to get those lasered out. People were wondering if he would sound the same, and he does, and he did. And
And he sounds incredible still. Yeah,
he was able to shriek and shrill and scream like that for 50 years.
it's crazy.
And doctors would tell you that if you had told them that he was doing that in his 20s, they would tell him immediately, stop.
Yeah. Oh, a vocal coach would run in horror from the
Right,
things that Steven Tyler's been doing his whole career.
right.
But
And
some people are built different, man.
yeah, they marvel at him that did it for as long as he did.
It's absolutely incredible. I mean, there are people that sing that do everything by the book and still get either polyps or whatever was going on in Steven's case or whatever that and can't sing ever again the rest of their life, and they did everything right.
Right. I mean, finally, I don't know even know how you do this when he fractured his larynx a couple years ago.
Yeah, what the hell? I remember hearing about that.
Yeah, and that's basically the end of it. But now there's rumors, of course. So they announced the tour is canceled and they can no longer tour. Steven can no longer tour because his voice can't handle it. Yada yada yada. Well, he's 77 years old.
Yeah, I mean, good lord.
So
What do we want from him at this point?
right, right. So, but what the weird thing is, he's got this Janie's Fund Foundation, and he's got a little bit of a checkered history. He adopted somebody when he was like 20 and they were 17 or something.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
I remember that. Yep.
and apparently the parents wanted him to adopt them. There was some sort of controversy. I don't know if he did this as a makeup or to look good in public court, whatever, but he's doing a lot of good things with Janie's Fund. And it's a fund for um, women who are abused in abusive relationships, and it's a fund for them.
Good for him. That's really cool. Whatever got him there, he's doing a good thing now with it. That's
Right.
great.
And they have once a year they have like a fundraiser, and
Oh,
and he plays every year, and everyone's like, well, he's not going to play this year. He's done singing, and he clarified, I'm not done singing. I can sing. I just can't sing 3 times a week.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's different between touring and being able to sing it all, no doubt.
Right. So he had earlier this year, I think it was February, he had a Janie's Fund thing, and he sang. He was out there. He was on the piano, and it was great to see him out there. And
That's so cool,
kind of surprising. And then, like literally 2 weeks ago, they had another one, and he sang again.
man. Go for him. Good for him. I mean, I just love that people thought that music was something that you retired from at one point, which is insane.
No,
It's not. You don't retire from music. You maybe if the worst case for a musician is that something happens to them physically and they can't play anymore. But until that happens, I mean, Glenn Campbell, who, by the way, do you know that name, the Glenn Campbell?
yeah, didn't he get like dementia or something?
He had dementia, and he still toured with it until almost until the very end. And there were days apparently where he would hardly be there at all mentally. They would get him out onto the stage, they get that guitar in his hands, and he would come to life. And it was a beautiful thing. Now, by the way, anybody that like Glenn Campbell, I mean, he was just some hokey country act to me when I was growing up. Anybody that wants to hear some top notch guitar playing, I might bring him to your reaction channel one of these days because that dude tore it up, bro, tore it up,
Wow.
and um and guys like that, like Lemmy from Motorhead, they were touring until a couple months before he died. You know.
Yep. So did Greg Allman.
Exactly, exactly. Another perfect example. Another
I think
perfect example.
Dickie Betts too, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Eric Clapton has tried to retire like 5 times and he can't stop playing.
Yeah,
So
Kiss too.
who? Oh, Kiss it. Yeah. Well, Kiss it's a little different. Kiss it's a marketing strategy.
Yeah. Kiss is a
my
joke. They've had like 9 farewell tours.
you've seen my band videos. The bass player in my band, Steve Schenberger, is the biggest Kiss fan I know. And the greatest concert he ever saw according to him, and it's not even close to him in his mind, is Kiss's farewell tour that he saw in 1994.
Meanwhile, I saw them play with Aerosmith in like 2008.
Exactly, and they're still together. So it's so funny, man. Some people do it because they think they might actually have to stop or want to stop, maybe, and then they realize they just can't. I think that's the case with Clapton, and some
Didn't
people.
Brian Johnson with AC/DC have like something where he was going to go deaf,
He had
so he had to
tinnitus.
stop?
He had a horrible case of tinnitus and serious hearing loss, and he had to stop for a couple years. And there was Axl Rose famously sat in for him on a leg of their tour when he had a broken foot and
Yeah, he
was
just
doing it
sat in
in
a
a
chair with his leg
throne.
up.
Yeah, and this is the same Axl Rose, by the way, who is one of the biggest douchebags in the history of rock and roll, who finally apparently got his shit together in his 50s and became a real man and decided to actually step up and be a decent human being. Do you know the story about how they were touring with Metallica, and the day that what's his name, the lead singer of Metallica, got his arm burnt by the pyrotechnics? Do you ever hear about this?
No.
Well, check this out, dude. So the lead singer of Metallica, they were touring, and it's funny because you brought up earlier about how Kiss had to be the opening act if they wanted to tour with Aerosmith, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So back in the day, at one of their peaks, Metallica toured with Guns N' Roses, and they rotated as headliners. And on this night, Metallica was the opening act. What is the damn lead singer from Metallica's name? I'll find
James
it. But
Hetfield.
thank you, Craig. Thank you. So Hetfield missed his mark apparently, or something happened. I don't know if it was his fault or the pyrotechnics' fault or just a horrible accident. But he was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and the pyrotechnics went off and fried his arm to the point, Craig, where he couldn't play for a year. It took him. Most people wouldn't have come back from what happened to him, and he was able to do it. But it took over a year for him to play guitar again.
Wow.
That night, the concert ends. It's not even halfway through Metallica's set. There's a chance for Guns N' Roses to be the hero and say, "Hey, let's just go on stage early. We'll do something. We'll do a little extra tonight because our fucking guy that we're touring with is in agony and in the hospital right now. Why don't we step up and do something good?" The rest of the band said, "Okay." Axl said, "Nah, I need to drink my tea and meditate." And in the meantime, a riot broke out, and hence the concert never happened. Guns N' Roses never took the stage because Axl was the biggest prima donna douche of his era. And the fact that idiot, 30 years later, actually stepped up and did a concert tour, part of a tour in a cast, shows that anybody can grow up.
Right. Yep. He definitely grew up.
It's a big thing because, I mean, what he did that night in that Metallica tour is one of the biggest baby bullshits of anybody that I've ever heard about in my life. And he's actually stepped up. He's showed up at concerts regularly for a couple years now. Which, did I ever tell you I was at a riot at
No.
the Wells Fargo Center in the early 2000s because Axl didn't show up at a Guns N' Roses concert? Yeah, the the opening act of it was the worst opening act I've ever seen in my life. It was just a dumb idea. They had the DJ from the Beastie Boys as the opening act. I don't even know his name and don't care. All he did was just play songs. So the opening act was a dude standing on stage, hitting play, and standing there for 5 minutes until the next song was on, and then he hit play again. So my sister and I were walking around the venue during this quote unquote opening act because it was the most boring BS thing I'd ever seen in my life. And towards the end of his 45 minutes or so, I realized, I said, "Katie, what are they doing?" to my sister. And they were wheeling the kegs out of the bar area and into hidden back rooms. I said, "Something's wrong. They are getting rid of alcohol. And you don't get, I mean, what's the biggest moneymaker at concerts for the venue is alcohol sale."
Yep.
So we went back, we sat down at our seats. The guy ended, we waited 45 minutes in total silence while eventually, I'll never forget, it was like 10:53. Guns N' Roses was supposed to be on at 10. And they come over the announcement and say, "Ladies and gentlemen, we regret to inform you that Guns N' Roses will not be taking the stage this evening. Please don't take this out on the staff or the venue."
Wow. Did you get a refund?
Now, yes, but we did not get our $25 parking fee or our $30 plus of Ticketmaster fees refunded. So we paid about $70 for the privilege of seeing Axel not show up that night.
Okay.
Yeah. So let me just say, very cool to see that the dude actually grew up and became a man because what we found out the next day was he never left New York City the night before. He was never planning on doing that show. He let 20,000 people show up at a venue that he was never planning on showing up at.
Oh my God. And a
Yep.
riot broke
And
out?
yep. Oh my God, dude, I forgot to tell you that part. Yeah. So the second now you're in Philly and you just let people sit there in this venue for almost 3 hours waiting for this act, putting up a DJ at one point in front of a rock band. Okay. So they say what they said, and he might as well have said over the PA, "Gentlemen, start your engines." because
Wow.
Instantaneously. I'm telling you, every drink that everybody was holding in that stadium hit every roadie on that stage. Um, you know how when you go to a big indoor like basketball arena show, there's always a giant sound area where the dudes that are running the sound are operating, and there's fences around it, and it's in the middle of the floor somewhere. Can you
Okay.
picture what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
so this is the kind of thing I notice as a musician. Most people would just probably be like, "Oh yeah, it's just something I have to walk around," you know. But there is literally probably hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars of equipment in about 100 square feet on that floor, destroyed, destroyed. People were ripping out the bolted down chairs
Oh my
and
God.
wailing on this stuff. I mean, it was unbelievable, dude. My first thought was the safety of my sister, and I said, "Man, let's get out of here. Just stay with me." And she's like, "No." She's like, "We had nosebleeds, so that we weren't in any imminent danger." And they had binoculars attached by steel cables to the bottom of the seats at this venue. So she's just like, "Let's just watch this craziness." So we just sat there with the binoculars and watched people go insane for almost an hour, and
Wow.
then, Craig, we finally decide to leave. We walk out of the venue, and it's like we walked into a Mad Max movie. Like there were trash cans on fire. There were like 20 dudes shaking a cop's car. There was fire everywhere. There were cops everywhere, and it was wild, bro. It was wild, and all this happened one because people are rational and acted like idiots in a situation where they didn't have to act like idiots, but also because a rock star chose to be a prima donna.
Wow.
Isn't that something? And the
Unbelievable.
band was there. Last thing, sorry. The last thing. I forgot to say this. The band was there. The reason I went to see this show is because Buckethead was playing in the band at the time, and I'm a massive Buckethead fan. Love Slash too. Would have gladly seen Guns N' Roses with Slash, but Buckethead was a massive pull to get me there at the time. Him and the rest of the band were there. We saw them on stage warming up. So Axel left them in the lurch too.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
glad to see he grew up a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. It is nice to see because I shredded that guy for years, and I still do because he deserves it for some of the stuff he did back then. But I will also acknowledge and commend the growth.
That is good. That is fantastic. That's a great story.
Very cool. Thanks, man. I didn't expect
Yes.
to tell that one today. It just popped up out of nowhere.
So, just few more things to add here. Um, I mentioned how much they were influenced by the blues. Steven Tyler's major influences were, even though he denied it in the '70s, was the Stones and Jagger, and
Yes, right
also
on.
Janis Joplin.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yes. Also, when they had the time in between, I think it was after this album came out. This last album came out. Yeah, it
Hmm.
was. He did a country album by himself.
What?
You didn't know this?
Cool. No.
And then the
Is it
country
any good?
album, it's not bad. It's not bad.
Cool.
And on the country album was "A Piece of My Heart" by Janis.
Get out.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
There's also an awful rendition of "Janie's Got a Gun."
Oh no, made country.
Yeah, terrible.
Oh no.
But this album is not the worst thing you ever. It's okay. It's okay. I'm not a country fan anyway, so it's not. But it's not really. It's like country rock, you know.
That's interesting. I don't mind country music, so I don't know. I would definitely check it out.
And also Joe Perry formed the Hollywood Vampires with Alice Cooper and Johnny Depp. He
It's a
went on
weird
tour.
band.
Yeah, with the Hollywood Vampires. Sometimes Brad Whitford would join them. The keyboardist was Buck Johnson, who was Aerosmith's keyboardist for years, and
Okay.
the background singer for Tyler all the
Okay.
time. Um, Joey Kramer got got to the point where he couldn't keep up anymore, unfortunately, and they replaced him on the drums. But up until about 2015, if you went to see an Aerosmith concert for 45 years, you saw the same five guys, which is
It's
a
incredible.
testament.
That's
Incredible.
incredible.
That's unheard of in any band.
People talk. It's so funny because if you just listen to the way they talk about Aerosmith, the Toxic Twins, and all that, you'd think they would have been torn up and reformed 75 times. You know what I mean?
Nope.
But they're the most consistent lineup in the history of rock and roll.
Yep. Real quick, James Hetfield credits his sobriety to Steven Tyler.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
Um, Steven Tyler, though, has been in rehab a bunch of more times than everybody realizes, but not for drugs, for like heroin and cocaine and all that stuff. It's because if you want, and I think I've even told you this before, and maybe you've already seen it, his feet. Steven Tyler's feet are the grossest thing you'll ever see.
Oh, I've heard. I don't. Yeah, vaguely I know. For some reason I know this tickling my brain, but I can't. What? So what is the deal?
Just call it up, call up the images. Just go to Steven
But
Tyler's
why
feet.
are they like this?
I don't know, but he's had so many problems with his feet in operations and things like that, and he broke his ankle a couple times. And every time he has one of these operations, they give him something for the pain, and he gets addicted to it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Opiates.
Yep.
So
Yep.
he has to go back to rehab. He's been to rehab a bunch more times than everybody realizes, but it's always from this opiate addiction, not the real hard stuff.
Yeah. And that's it's very rare that somebody gets sober and that's it.
Right.
You know,
Okay.
there's usually a lot of missteps, so that's all right. Nothing wrong with that. It's
Yeah.
human.
So that's it.
I love it.
Let's go over the songs real quick.
Let's do it, man. I love this. This is great. I really enjoyed checking out these songs. By the way, this was really fun.
I gave you three different versions of Dream On.
Yes. Now, I only listened to the original studio version because I wanted it fresh in my head for the comparison, but I obviously know that one.
Right.
The other two I'd never heard before, and you want to break down what they were, please go ahead.
Well, if it was one was the actually I'm not sure what
Oh,
the
here, I
second
have
one
it. I'm
was.
sorry. My bad. My bad. So
So
one
because
was from
I know
2004 live, You Gotta Move.
right. By the way, that's one of the songs on Honkin' on Bobo. It was during that tour.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And they released a DVD of that, and
Yeah, which is yeah,
I
that's
saw it for
it's
DVD.
absolutely awesome. And then the other one was which I looked into because I was like, I don't remember, like, where the hell was this? I don't, and I couldn't
MTV's
find it.
10th anniversary show.
Yeah, I couldn't find an album attached to it, and
There
there's
isn't.
not an album.
Well, actually, you know what? You wanted to hear the randomest thing ever?
Yes.
It's on an album, but it's not on an
What
Aerosmith.
album?
It's not on an Aerosmith album.
What is it?
How?
MTV something or something?
No, it's the worst thing ever. How about this? Do you remember an obscure Arnold Schwarzenegger on the downside of his action movie career called Last Action Hero?
Oh, totally.
It's on that soundtrack.
Oh my God, that's a riot. Well, you know who else is on that soundtrack?
Who?
Buckethead.
Oh yeah. Well, to be honest, I bought the soundtrack for the Aerosmith song, obviously, but I listened to the whole thing. It's pretty good.
And you know the other connection between that movie and this song because I saw this name and I was like, no way. Do you know who directed the orchestra?
No,
Have you ever heard? Now, might be a real music nerd thing. I'm curious if you've ever heard the name Michael Kamen. You probably
actually,
have.
no.
Okay, now here's why you know his work, even though you haven't heard him. Obviously, you know him from this Aerosmith thing. He directed that orchestra. He was one of the most prominent movie score people of his era. Check this out. Not only did he do that, by the way, but doing a couple credits real quick before I hit the movies. Before he did, or because of doing this with Aerosmith, it led to people think it's arguably the greatest album made with an orchestra ever with a rock band, and that's Metallica's S&M album.
Oh yeah.
Michael Kamen directed that orchestra.
Okay. Yep.
So here's just a little touch on his credits. Okay, he started in 1976 with a couple movies I've never heard of. And then by 1982, he did the classical arrangement for Pink Floyd's The Wall.
Okay.
Um, then he moved into movies. He did Um, Brazil, which is an old Terry Gilliam movie.
Oh yeah.
If you're a Monty Python guy,
I know that movie.
right on. He did that. He did Highlander.
Okay.
He He did every Lethal Weapon movie ever, all four of them. He
Wow.
did Die Hard. I think he did. I don't know if he did all the Die Hards, but he did at least Die Hard 1 and 2. He did Roadhouse, the
Roadhouse.
original. Yeah, I mean, I could go like it's insane. Like there are 4 or 5 movies a year, starting with Lethal Weapon 1 in '86, I think it was. Yeah, that you would know, and it goes on like that until he dies in '03. It just on and on and on and on. He's one of the most prolific movie score guys ever, and it's a real music nerd thing. But it's really cool that he did that with Aerosmith. I mean, that launched. There's no Metallica S&M album without this performance. I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, they did it with the symphony. Steven Tyler's playing the piano from the ceiling and gets lowered down at the
Yes.
beginning. Um, and then, in my opinion, the best performance of Dream On ever and the best scream at the end of Dream On that he's ever done is in this performance. And I like that performance so much, and I think it's so far superior to the studio. It's to the point where I kind of don't even like the studio version anymore because
Yeah,
these live
right.
performances are so much better. It's not even close.
Well, this is why if you ever reacted to a studio version of the Grateful Dead or Fish, you would get the same exact response from the Deadheads and the Fish fans.
I see somebody really, oh, I never heard of Aerosmith. We're gonna do Dream On, and they do the studio, and I'm like, no,
I love
please
it.
do
I
this
love it.
instead. Don't do that.
And
But
I
there
got to
are some
tell you, I mean,
people. There
listen.
are some people who reacted to the MTV that version a few times. I've
Oh, that's
found
great.
it.
I'll look for that because that's fun. Yeah, no, listen, I get what you're saying now because listen, the original is awesome. It is what it is. But I mean, this is Steven Tyler years later, having honed his craft, having gotten sober, doing it way better.
Yep. And yeah, and plus, yeah, the symphony, it just builds it up. It's perfection, really.
It's incredible. It's absolutely amazing. Yeah, I don't remember having heard that before, and I was blown away.
Yep. And that other one, the You Got to Move one, that was just the standard version that they did every show for 40 years or whatever. But the Scream is still way better than the studio version, and it's a really good performance.
It was great. Yeah, I was like, oh, this orchestra one better be damn good after that, and it did. It was, but 2004 was incredible. So I was like, oh, this must be amazing. This one with the orchestra.
Okay, so let's move on to Mother Popcorn and Ain't Got You. I added these because this is Aerosmith sounding unlike themselves, like the most unique they've ever sounded, in my opinion. It's almost like a funk feel for me.
It is.
In Mother
Well, they're
Popcorn,
covering James Brown in one of the songs, so that's straight up funk for sure.
yeah, and Ain't Got You's good too. But what'd you think
Yeah.
of this performance?
I really liked them. Like I'd never heard Aerosmith play anything like this stuff. I mean, I'd never delved into any off the beaten path live recordings or anything. So this was completely new to me. I really enjoyed it because there was a couple reasons. One, this is Calvin Carter wrote "I Ain't Got You," but Calvin Carter was a producer. He never played. He's not on any version of "I Got You" ever. He wrote the song. The original is Jimmy Reed, and it couldn't be more different. I mean, it's the song, but they really Aerosmithed it up, and I love it. And it's super. The other thing I really like about it is you get to hear Whitford solo.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Everybody solos, including Steven Tyler ripping up the harmonica, Joe Perry being awesome Joe Perry as we expect.
And this is
Yeah, I
early.
really
This is
enjoyed this thing.
early Aerosmith. This is like early '70s.
Mhm. Yeah, this is, and they had as on Mother Popcorn. I found out doing some research, and I'm sure you knew this, that they had a sax player in their band for a short period of time.
Yeah, he does. He plays the sax on that song.
He was on the touring band off the Aerosmith album release.
Yeah, yeah. He's David Winward Withward.
Yeah, I have it written down. I have it somewhere here.
The
David Woodford.
Woodford, which is weird because Brad Whitford.
Exactly. Yeah, Woodford and Whitford, and then the guy who broke the guy who nailed Nixon, Woodward and Bernstein.
So
So
yeah,
yeah,
he joins them on stage in the Mother Popcorn performance, How about this? Talk about random. Out of nowhere, they go to Japan for a tour, and there's that one release of Mother Popcorn right there, and out of nowhere, in like 2002, they played Mother Popcorn.
You got to be kidding me.
No,
Oh, I want to
they,
hear that. Is that out there to be listened to?
yeah, because I found a bootleg DVD of it and I got it, and I watched it.
I want to hear that.
It
I
sounds
definitely
pretty
want to
good.
hear that.
To be
That's awesome.
honest, that's such a small venue in such an enclosed space. On the original, it sounds a little better. This is an outdoor venue in Japan, and they had to really liven it up, so it's a little bit different. It's still cool as hell, and it's just so random. They would always do that whenever they went to Japan for whatever reason. They would always pull out something random like that for the Japanese audience. And yeah, one year out of nowhere, they did Mother Popcorn, and then they never did it again.
That's awesome. I love it. Well, and I want to give you a little David Woodford thing too for the people out there that aren't familiar with this guy. This
Actually,
guy,
real quick, I'm sorry. I think I lied. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think they played it a
yeah.
couple more times, but
Oh, okay,
still
okay.
no more than a handful of times over 50 years.
I mean, it's got to be one of the rarest songs in of their set list ever, huh?
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
That's so cool, man. So yeah, this David Woodford cat, by the way, he was a studio musician at the studio where they recorded their first album, Intermedia Studios, and he was the house horn player, and that's when he got to know them, and and then the label apparently sent him on tour with them for the first tour after that album, and this guy though, the credits on this guy are insane. He's the guy that played the sax on "The Heat Is On."
Oh, really?
That's the guy that played on Mother Popcorn with Aerosmith in 1973. Same guy.
Wow.
That's crazy. He played the sax on Danger Zone, Kenny Loggins, Top Gun.
Wow.
Yeah. He was on Beverly Hills Cop. Well, obviously those songs, but he was on the 1 and 2 soundtracks. He was on the Top Gun soundtrack. He was on the Over the Top soundtrack.
Oh,
The
someone with the arm wrestling movie.
Exactly, yes.
Jimmy
I
Snuka's
should have known you'd know
Jimmy
that one. That's
Snuka's in
awesome.
there. Terry Funk is in that.
Yes. Oh my God, it's
Somebody
it's a
drinks motor
great one for
oil.
wrestling fans. Yes, yes. Oh man, and here's just a quick list of some of the other credits he has. Aerosmith, obviously. Rod Stewart, Bonnie Raitt, the Shirelles, Dwight Yoakam, Roy Orbison, Aaron Neville, P. Diddy, not sure he wants to take credit for that one right now, Stevie Ray Vaughan, and Eddie Money. And that's just a fraction of the list, according to this article.
Wow. So he is a well-traveled saxophone player.
Huge. And then apparently he sat in with them in the 2000s, I think it was, the early 2000s, for the first time since that tour. And he walked on stage, and the guys in the band all had to do a double take because he looked nothing like he did on the Mother Popcorn in 1973.
So, is that on? I'm trying to think what that's on. Is that on the live bootleg album?
Yes,
Okay, you're right. That's the album that sounds like crap otherwise, other than those two.
yes, and it was those last two songs we talked about were both on that same album.
Right, yeah, they one went right into the other.
Yep, cool.
All right, real quick, let's move on to Seasons of Wither, the unplugged version. We already touched on this a little bit. The snow when they performed it live and being on stage in the chairs when they did Hangman Jury and then went right into it. But I just love that song. Just in terms of the song itself, we don't have to dive too deep. What did you think of that song?
I thought it was really cool, man, and I really liked. It's what musicians call a dirge, which is an old like Irish Scottish sort of thing where it's like you're hanging out in one spot musically. I
Yep,
don't know if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm doing a good job of explaining it, but there's that, and we're right here, and they're right there for most of the song, and it is awesome. And then that live version you said I really dug. I forget where it was from.
unplugged. That's the unplugged one.
Oh, it was from the Unplugged. That's right. Good call. Yep, yep.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
yep, that was one of the highlights of the concerts when they started doing that out of nowhere. They just one tour starts and all of a sudden these chairs show up on the stage. And I'm like, what the hell is this? And Steven Tyler comes out, sits on the stage. Joe Perry grabs an acoustic guitar. They bust in the Hangman Jury, and then right from there, snow starts falling from the ceiling, and they go to do Seasons of Wither.
Incredible. Yeah,
Love
no, I
that song.
really enjoyed it. It was a great performance, and the original studio version's super cool, and the live version was added an extra sauce to it. I liked it a
Yep.
lot.
That song climbed in my own personal rankings little by little. When I first heard it, I thought pretty good. I like it. I enjoy it. Nothing crazy, I liked it. And then just
Yeah,
as the time has gone by and the years has gone by, and I listened to it again and again and again, all of a sudden it's like, screw that. This is one of my favorite friggin' songs by them. This is unbelievable.
it's funny how that happens when you listen to whatever you're like. An Aerosmith guy, whatever my band is, whatever you know what I mean.
Yeah.
As your tastes rotate over the years a little bit. That's pretty cool.
Kings and queens and guillotines taking lives denied. What did you think
That's a
of
great,
Kings and Queens?
awesome. Let me see. Let me check my notes. Okay, so first of all, all right. First of all, I love the studio version is 3 minutes and 47 seconds. The live version is 5 minutes and 49
Well,
seconds.
because they
They
they they have the slowdown. Yep.
Yep, and they really rock it out, man. Like the guitar solo is longer. There's some extra stuff in it that I really dug. Um, I can't talk about this live version without talking about Steven Tyler. I mean, arguably the greatest frontman of all time, certainly in the discussion. And he starts the live video starts with him going, "Where were you in 1977?" And then he says a couple other things, and then he points to some woman in the front row and goes, "I know where you were." I mean, he's all time, man. He really is. His
um.
vocals are absolutely spectacular on the
Oh
live
my God, the
version.
screams at the end where yeah. Oh my God, he has like 4 or 5 in a row.
Yeah, yeah, it was mind blowing. I really dug the because I didn't know the this song. It was not a song that I was super familiar with at all, and I really liked the studio version. And I was like, oh well, this live version better kick ass, and damn, it did.
Yeah, I love this song. Another one of these. Although this one didn't take as long as Seasons of Wither. Wither that took years for me to like kind of realize how much I liked it. This was
Hmm.
a little bit of time, but not nearly as long. And I was like, no, this is like top five or something. It is incredible. I love when they bring it down to almost the silence with just the drum on the cymbals lightly, and then they build it up. And I love the build up to the crescendo and oh my god, and then yeah, his screaming in tune with the guitar as well at times,
Yes.
and just the shrieks over and over again, and the lyrics are incredible if you really pay attention to the lyrics. One of the best ones is fearing only loss of pride.
Oh, that's great.
Like they don't care about dying, just the only fear they have is losing their pride.
That's great. And some of the lyrics jumped out to me in the first, like, cause I listened to everything you sent me at least twice, and they were jumping out at me just listening to it. But I didn't catch everything or even close. But I did notice that there were some serious lyrics going on here, so that's really cool. I'll check them out.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, we're moving on here. We're almost done.
Love it.
One Way Street from Made in America. Again, the studio, pretty good. Made in America, even better, the live version.
This might have been my favorite song that I didn't know already.
Yeah, I mean, the harmonica is ridiculous in there.
It is. It's great. The studio and live.
Yep,
Um, There's there's this is one of the very few songs that I know of, and certainly on this list that has solos by both guitar players. Whitford solos
yeah,
in this.
yep. Did you know they had a bar called Mama Kin's in Boston for a little while?
I heard about this, but I don't know anything about it.
And you would play there sometimes, a lot of times like before a tour started to kind of get amped up, get ready
Okay.
under like a pseudonym, so people didn't know it was them. And this was at their bar, I believe.
Oh, I
I
didn't know that.
believe.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this was at the bar. Either way, there's definitely some stuff that's been released that they recorded at the bar. But anyway,
Oh, one other thing I wanted to mention about this song because I heard something. So you have the two solos. By the way, One thing that Joe Perry did in the live version, speaking to any guitar players out there, if you listen to the studio version, Joe Perry's entrance into, because I'm assuming he's the second solo. I can tell Joe Perry's licks, I think. So I'm assuming Whitford went first and Joe Perry second in the live and studio versions. If anything I say is wrong, tell me. But in the studio version, Whitford finishes his solo. There's a bit of a pause, and then Perry comes in. In the live version, there's less of a pause, and Perry plays this crazy ass lick. Like it's like I don't even know how to describe it. If he just played the lick without the rest of the band, you'd be like, "What the hell is that, dude? And why do you think it's going to fit in this song?" And it would do me a favor when we're sometime, whenever you're in the mood, just listen to what I'm talking about and shoot me a text. Let me know what you think because it's so cool the way he made this weird ass lick. And when I say that, I mean it's awesome. Like it's so fascinatingly cool. To put this into perspective and why I like it so much, I showed up at jazz school when I was 23 years old, never having played in jazz band in high school and never really knowing much about jazz, and being in with a bunch of high school graduates that were 18, kicking my ass all over the place.
Okay.
And so I was struggling. I was hanging on by my fingernails just to get through ensemble class and be able to play a jazz song without doing anything fancy with it at all. Beside me, in my ensemble, is a guy named Ray, who I hope he's out there kicking ass and taking names to this day because he was one of the best players I've ever been around in my life. And Ray was so bored with the stuff that we were doing early in ensemble class because he'd been doing it since his 8th grade year that he would do things like instead of just playing the melody of a jazz song called like Autumn Leaves, he would play a bit of the melody and then he would throw in a lick from the Simpsons theme song.
What? Really?
Oh yes, I heard him do it a million times. He'd be like, he did, yeah, exactly. The one I specifically remember him doing it to was a song called Blue Bossa, which the melody goes bum ba 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 da ba 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 ba, and he went ba 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 da ba 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 da da.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and Joe did something like that in the live version of this song. He took a lick from something, I can't place it. It might just be something that caught his ear. It might be something from some jazz or blues song from 1942, knowing Joe, who knows. But it's really freaking cool. And any guitar player out there, check it out because it caught my ear big time. And the other thing I want to mention about this one real quick. I heard this, it's after the second guitar solo, after Joe Perry's guitar solo, and then Steven Tyler starts coming in with this vocal thing that's new to the song at this point. I looked it up because I thought I heard something. I Googled it and Google agreed with me. I want to see if the Aerosmith expert does. You hear future hints of Love in an Elevator starting at about the 517 mark of the live version and earlier in the studio version. Future hints of Love in an Elevator. You have any idea what I'm talking about?
No, I never caught that.
Okay, check out the Joe Perry lick and the 517 live version breakdown thing. It's also in the studio version. I didn't write the time down. And tell me what you think. I Googled it. I Googled, is there hints of Love in an Elevator in One Way Street by Aerosmith? It immediately came up with, yes, lots of people have heard that. In fact, Steven Tyler acknowledges it and says it was an idea he wanted to come back to someday.
That's awesome. So yes, there's some stuff obviously you guys should dive into with this song. If you're listening and you're still with us, you must be fans. Go to One Way Street from Made in America. That's what we're talking about. That's the live version, or the studio is on their debut album, One Way Street.
Yeah, man, it's awesome. And that Made in America album was only released at Walmart.
Yep. Weird. Weird.
There was a brief time when bands were doing that. That was a thing. I remember.
Okay, we talked about this song already. Something's got to give. My opinion, Steven Tyler's best harmonica playing is in Something's Got to Give. His fastest, at the very least, his fastest. Um, but regardless, I love the harmonica in that song. That song is a hard rock song. Um, there's two, and then there's a crazy metal song also on that album. That's why it's my favorite album. Something's Got to Give. It's got a great riff too. I just love the song.
Yeah.
And wait,
I was
that's the one that's got the garbage cans, right?
in the beginning.
At the end. Maybe that's
Oh,
Crash. That could be Crash. There's another song
I
on there. One I always get them confused because they're
I
both
don't I
hard
don't
records.
remember garbage cans.
Okay, and in Crash at the end, Steven, not even Joey, plays the drums on garbage cans, and you could
Oh,
tell you could tell they're garbage cans. It sounds like metal garbage cans.
that's priceless, man. Well, that's freaking hard. And again, drummer roots.
Yep, yep.
So I wrote down two things about this song. One, the whole band is rocking tough, and the second note, oh my god, the harmonica.
Yeah,
This listen, there is one guy who is head and shoulders the best harmonica player in the history of rock and roll, and it's not even close, and that's John Popper
yep,
from Blues Traveler. Like he's in a
yep.
league of his own, and nobody's even close. This is the
Absolutely.
closest thing I've ever heard to a John Popper harmonica guitar
And he
harmonica
doesn't
solo
really
by
get
anybody
credit
else.
for it. Steven doesn't really get credit for it too much. Like people think he's a good harmonica player, but he's not really like great. And it's
No,
like
he's
listen
great.
to this song.
He's a dude. I rewound. I like I said, I listened to every song at least twice. This I rewound the beginning of that harmonica solo like 40 times. Like
It's
he
insane.
comes in like a demon. It's like I can't even make a silly stupid noise as fast as he's doing that harmonica. It's crazy.
Yeah,
It's awesome. It reminds me like the best compliment I can give a harmonica player is that anything they do reminds me of John Popper, and that reminds me of John Popper.
yeah, just craziness. So there you go. Something has got
Awesome.
to give.
Awesome. Loved it. Can't wait to listen to that album now.
And last but not least, Joe
Yeah.
Perry's best solo, in my opinion, and they hit it in the song, and it's annoying because no one ever hears it because the song is amazing. I'm not saying the song is amazing. It's the name of the song is amazing, and it's a ballad. And the radio version, the video, all of them are the shorter version of the song. You have to get the long version. You have to specifically look for the long version of Amazing. And if
And
you
by the
do,
way, it's not easy to find
no,
because what I usually do, you send me the stuff, but I don't listen to my stuff on my phone because I suck at technology. I know how to do it on my Chromebook. And my Bluetooth speaker is hooked up to that, so I do it on there. So what I do is I just look at the version you send me, then I pull that up on YouTube. And I couldn't find that version. It was really hard to find. So
yeah,
I had to hook up my Bluetooth to my phone and listen to it. And my God, you did not oversell it in the least. It is unbelievable. It is. I wish I had written down how long the solo is. It's got to be about 3 minutes long, something like that.
yeah.
I
It's
mean,
it's long and it's the entire outro pretty much.
it's incredible.
And the song without it is like 4 minutes long, and with it it's like six and a half. So
I was
you'll know it
floored
by the
because
length. If you do a search for it and it's 4 minutes or something or 5 minutes, it's over 6 minutes. If you find that that's the right one. A lot of times it's called extended version or long version, and it's amazing. You probably have heard it. It was popular in the '90s. They released it. Alicia Silverstone was in the video. All that stuff. But again, they had a radio version without the solo, and that's the one that everybody knows, and that's the one that got released, and that's the one that's in the video, but you need this extended version. Holy crap.
he's not joking, man. Like it is absolutely bonkers. Like it's at least twice as long as the radio edit, maybe four times as long. I'm not sure. It is awesome the entire way through. Like it starts probably the first 30 seconds or so has a lot of Steven Tyler going crazy over top of it, and then it is nothing but Joe for the last 90% of it or so, and it is amazing.
Yeah, I
Absolutely
mean, the
freaking
drums are
amazing.
still in it. Like, it's not a full on solo where everybody's laying out for it,
Yeah, no, no,
but
no,
I
no.
mean, but it's there, and you're not going to miss it.
Oh,
It's
it's amazing. And that the tone he was using during that time is still one like he's had different tones. His 70s tone is different than his permanent vacation through what's the one after pump? Get a grip. Tone, which is then different that I'm now learning than his that starts with Nine Lives tone. Um and I really love that semi-clean kind of nasally tone he had that he was using to solo. It's the same tone he uses in Love in an Elevator. You know what I mean? And I
right. Well,
love it.
yeah, I mean, it's off of Get a Grip, so it would have been right in that time frame.
I absolutely love it. He is one of the coolest guitar players ever. He has, I mean, it is a lifetime of licks in one solo. It's incredible. He throws
Yeah,
everything he ever learned at you in 3 minutes. It's amazing.
yeah, it's very good. Sometimes I'll go to the song and I literally just like fast forward to that part.
Yeah, totally, man, totally. I mean, I could see doing that now for sure because I was like, that solo is incredible. I mean, it is literally just 3 minutes or plus of awesomeness. It's amazing. It blows my mind. Blows my mind.
Yep, but
I'm so glad you told me about it because I never knew there was a longer version.
all his best guitar works in the '70s, so why even bother?
Yeah, no, he sucked after other than that.
Right, and that's another thing too. Is these people who like say, "Oh, they're Ballad Smith" or whatever, and it's like, "Well, what did you think of the rest of the album?" "Oh, I didn't even buy the album." "Oh, so you didn't
Right,
even listen to it?"
right,
So what are
right.
you
So
talking
you
about?
you judged an entire, not just an album, but an entire era off of what you heard on Top 40 radio, which any real music fan knows that is not where you hear the good shit.
Right, absolutely. There's 12 songs on an album. You hear three ballads, and you're like, "Oh, well, the other nine must suck."
Right,
So they
right.
suck now, and I'm going to tell you that they suck. They're no good anymore. But I didn't listen to those nine songs.
Yeah, give me a break, bro. Give me a
Yeah,
break. No, I'm so with you, man. I'm so with you. And by the way, one thing I didn't say is the reason I moved away from Aerosmith in the '90s was not because I didn't like Aerosmith anymore. I got into jam bands, and
right.
I got into jam bands and jazz fusion, and I wasn't listening to anything else for at least a decade. So
I hear you.
there was no way that Nine Lives was going to catch me, even if it was the greatest album by any band ever. So I can't wait to go back and revisit this stuff that I completely was oblivious to at the time.
Okay, well, hopefully you took a few notes on the things that I mentioned to go back and check on.
A hundred
Um,
percent.
so yeah, let me know what you think of that. But I think we've definitely spent enough time. We're on 2 hours and 40 minutes, 45
I
minutes.
I love it. Hey,
So
we Aerosmithed it up, my friend. We did it.
we definitely did it. I mean, it's a band that's been around for 50 years. So I mean, 3 hours is tough to get everything in.
I know, man. We, I think we did a pretty good job. But that's a band we could do another one on at some point too. Probably. I love it, man. They
Yeah,
they are they are one of the best in rock history, no doubt.
absolutely. So that's going to do it. Al, your podcast. Go.
All right, man. Thank you, sir. So we are back for season 2 of Bring 'Em Out with my buddy Soul Joel. It is on YouTube under Soul Joel TV, and I think the first two episodes are out. The first one is revisit. It's just the two of us in the first two episodes. We get to catch up with Joel in episode 1 and catch up with me in episode 2. And then we'll start the guests in episode 3 moving forward, and just a treat to be back.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I caught the second one. I got to go back and watch the first one, but I caught the second one. Yeah, and
Oh, right on. Thanks, man.
congratulations to you on all your your weight loss journey.
Ah, I appreciate it very much, my man. It's something that it's just really I'm desperately trying to keep my playing career going. It's all motivated by that and just wanting to get some healthy stuff. So I it's been a fun ride. It's been fascinating, and I just want to get back to playing. So I'm gonna keep moving my butt until I can.
That's awesome. That is so great. Okay, well that's going to do it then. Don't forget to check me on Perks Recap Pod. The podcast I released the Yankees podcast today, the series on the Rangers, which they swept the Rangers. Thank you very much.
Beautiful. And by the way, check these out, people. If you aren't already, these things are catching fire. Craig is catching fire with these things. So help support him, man. It's really good stuff.
Yeah, yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. And then, of course, the Perks Recap music reactions. Tomorrow will be Foghat covering a Buddy Holly song.
Whoa, bro.
Yeah,
Whoa. And I like Foghat. So, but I did not know they covered a Buddy Holly song. So
that'll
this is
be
going to
the
be
name
fun.
of the song. Is That'll Be the Day.
Oh, I know that song
Yep.
totally. So I don't know the Foghat version, so I'll be checking it out. That's great.
Yeah, that'll be out tomorrow. I actually already recorded it before we did this, but I got to do the editing, and this I want to get out tonight, so that'll be tomorrow morning.
Real quick, is it a video or a audio?
It's audio only.
Okay, well, just for fun, at least then, since it's not a video, just pull up a picture of the awesome sideburn lamb chop Fu Manchu action going on in the Foghat band at that time while you're listening.
Well, you know what I did too is I at the end of it, because it's like a 3 minute, it's under 3 minutes the song. It's like 2:40.
Okay.
So since it was so short, I actually played like 40, 45 seconds of the Buddy Holly song too, the
Oh, that's a
original.
great idea
To
for
like just,
context.
yeah, for context. Yep, exactly.
That's great move. Great move. I'll be looking forward to that, man. I can't wait. Yeah, and I'm mulling over a bunch of different things, trying to decide where I'm going next. But I'll have something to you soon enough.
Awesome. Definitely appreciate that. Appreciate everybody. And I tell you, if you stuck around this long, you are an Aerosmith fan. I salute you. I thank you. And until next time, we will see you later.